friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Aso Tarot, and in today's Pick a Heart reading, we are going to be asking the question, what is next in love for you? So I'm really excited for this reading today. We're going to be looking at who you're going to be involved with, what is shifting. We're also going to dive deep into what you can do to improve your love life, what is helping it, what isn't not helping it. That wasn't worded very well. And then we'll finish off with advice. And then there will be an 18 plus extended where we're going to get really juicy and we're going to look at what your next physical encounter will be like. So do be aware it is 18 plus, but that will be linked down below if you are interested. But we have 4 different hearts for you to choose from today, starting with pile 1 and heart 1. We have this lemon calcite heart. And then for pile 2, we have this Thulite heart. And then for pile 3, we have this Selenite heart. And then finally for pile 4, we have this Amethyst heart. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It's absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one. In this case, you might find, for example, if you're dating someone, it might be harder to find messages in here unless the person that you're dealing with sounds like one in a description. But essentially, we're going to start by looking at the person you're dealing with next. It is quite possible you may not know who they are if you're like super single and don't know anyone yet. It's all just going to kind of depend. So just trust your intuition here and don't try to force any messages if they don't feel right. I don't want you to stress yourself out. This is meant to be fun and enlightening, and I hope that it brings you closer to yourself and makes you feel more empowered when it comes to your love life. So once you have picked your pile or piles, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box or the comment section where I will have all of the timestamps for each pile listed below. And then once you have picked your pile or piles, we will get into your reading. Hi there, pile 1. Welcome to your reading and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the lemon calcite heart, this is going to be your reading. So let's go ahead and start by looking at who we are going to be dealing with when it comes to love. So we have the Self. Don't click out yet. I know that might be frustrating to hear, but I'm sure there's important reasons as to why. We have the Shark. We have the 7th house with relating, partners, companionship, best friends, marriage, relationships, opposition, equilibrium, sharing, communion, justice, balance, social awareness, and we have fun. Okay, so this can definitely work if you are in a relationship or not. Let me just make sure all the cards are in here. Okay. All right, better. So this is actually a really, really beautiful card to come through. And I really like this, that it like coincides with the lemon calcite heart, because I think that there's a lot of solar plexus upgrades coming your way. If you're unaware of what the solar plexus is, it's a chakra that is right around where your belly button is, and it kind of represents self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth, things like that. And I think that what is next for you in love is the recognition of more aspects of yourself coming into a lot of parts of yourself that maybe you were embarrassed of or ashamed by. There's a lot of understanding coming towards yourself when it comes to what you need in relationships, what you want out of relationships. And I think that you're starting to become more honest with yourself about what those needs actually are. If you're the type of person to kind of push your needs aside to placate others or settle for something less than what you truly want, or even kind of push away any opportunities out of fear that you may get hurt, I think you're going to be recognizing that maybe you've been selling yourself short, or recognizing that there's just no growth to be had by not doing what is going to fulfill you. So what I'm actually seeing is a huge revitalization in not only like your self-worth, but also there's going to be like, what's the word? A recollection of parts of yourself maybe that you lost, or a discovering of parts of yourself that you didn't even realize were there. This could be kind of characterized by like some big moments in your life, like maybe you're going through a big transition of some kind, or maybe you just have this internal shift and something significant happens and you just learn a lot more about yourself. But if you've been working on yourself, working on your growth, this is an excellent sign that you're not only getting closer to the truth of who you are, but you're also aligning with true energies of love. And I think one of the biggest things you're going to be realizing is that your emotions are not something to be afraid of, and your needs and desires are not something to be afraid of or ashamed of. If you're in a relationship, I think that you're going to be learning a lot in terms of what it is you truly need in order to be satisfied within this relationship, and also what you can do to show your partner what makes you feel loved and what you see in terms of like the future of this connection. I definitely think that you're going to be taking things less seriously and recognizing where maybe you've kind of had, and this is whether you're in a relationship or not, a little bit of like clenched butthole energy where maybe you've been kind of trying to control your circumstances, or you've wanted things to happen in your love life in a certain way. And I think you're just going to be recognizing where maybe you were holding yourself back or holding your relationship back because you wanted things to happen in a certain way. If you are in a relationship, I almost get the vibe like maybe you haven't been super transparent about your needs or what you've been wanting from your partner or with your partner. If you're single, I feel like you've been kind of avoiding some inner truths that you've needed to acknowledge, that you will acknowledge, that are going to be important when it comes to being in a relationship, because a lot of this is about knowing what you want, but then also recognizing that you don't need to meticulously plot how this comes into your life or when it comes into your life. I think you're going to recognize that maybe you've been going about love in a very, I just heard military-like, but just more regimented, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, you've been trying to control how things happen, when things happen. And I think you're starting to realize that, one, the universe doesn't work on your timeline, and two, you can't really control things like this. They kind of have to be more go with the flow. And I think you'll recognize as well, like if you're dating or things like that, you know, what's the point if you're not enjoying yourself, if you're not having fun? So for some of you, you may find that maybe you've been trying to force something to happen that isn't really happening, and maybe that's been causing you some unhappiness. Or maybe you've been holding on to an idea of what you want and not really giving anyone a chance that comes in because they don't fit a certain part of what you are wanting. I feel like what's really happening here is you're letting go of a lot of the expectations that you've had when it comes to love, and recognizing that you come first, and that there doesn't have to be some picture perfect event or picture perfect person or picture perfect relationship that you've been trying to box your understanding of love into. I think what you're recognizing is that you may not know what is going to make you happiest, and the beauty of being on this journey is actually just giving the universe the freedom to allow you to discover what is going to make you happiest, and trust that the universe is bringing you towards what is going to bring you happiness as well. I'm also called to this pearl here. Pearls could be a significant sign. And I think that there's a lot of, it just, I paused because I saw Pearl from SpongeBob like crying in my head. And I hope you haven't been crying. If you're dealing with some emotional difficulties right now, I'm sending you lots of love. But I do think that I think the rose attached to this thorn you're going to be seeing real soon. And I think what's been going on, you know, the way pearls form is when it's in an oyster, there's like an irritant, right? And nature does its thing, and eventually that irritant becomes a pearl. So I think that if you're in a relationship, you're gonna be finding this balance and happy medium between you and your partner, where you can speak your truth, you can listen to your partner, and you both can kind of find happy compromises. I feel like things are going to feel less forced. Like you both are kind of just going with the flow and enjoying each other's presence and feeling comfortable and happy with each other. And if you're not in a relationship, I think you're going to be recognizing how your frustrating past experiences are bringing you closer to the truth of who you are, and also making you feel less afraid to kind of see what's underneath the hood of yourself in terms of your emotions and what you truly want. Maybe you've been kind of settling for fickle energies or kind of hot and cold energies when you've been wanting something more serious. You know, if you're that type of person to say, oh, I'm just down to see whatever, but truthfully you really want something serious, I feel like you're going to see yourself having this shift where you're not afraid to speak about what it is you truly want. And I also think that you're not going to put so much stress and pressure on yourself to find that in a specific period of time or have it happen in a certain way or with a particular person. There's just a lot of clarity and truth coming. I almost said cluth. There's a lot of clarity and truth coming. Also, I don't know why, but the game Clue just popped in my head, so I don't know, something related to that could be significant. But I think what's really happening here is you're just letting go in a really positive way where you're asking yourself, what do I actually want? What is actually going to fulfill me? And how can I make myself happy? How can I find satisfaction and align with what's in my soul? And also be in a harmonious connection with someone, whether you're in one or not. I feel like you're just going to, like if you're dating, for example, I feel like you may be feeling a lot less pressure to perform or be a certain type of person. I feel like instead of asking, am I good enough for this person? You're going to be asking yourself, is this person aligned with me? Would this person and I really get to know each other better? There's no one specific person coming through, because whether you're in a relationship or not, everything right now is about you and how you relate to love and how you want your love life to be in terms of the control that you yourself have. Because there's many things outside of our control, but I think you're starting to recognize your true value and your true worth. And another thing that I'm hearing is that I feel like you're going to be less reliant on external advice, especially from like friends and family. I think you're going to be recognizing where you can trust yourself to make the right decisions for you, and you don't necessarily need to put so much pressure on yourself to find a person that's going to appease your family or look for XYZ requirements of a person. I think you're going to start seeing people from a more holistic perspective rather than just what they are on paper. And if you're in a relationship, I think you're going to be seeing the beauty of the person that you're with from a more holistic perspective. Not that you haven't before, but maybe, you know, you've kind of been distracted by things that you haven't been happy with, or you've been distracted by worries and fears. And I think you're going to be coming back to your truth. And so like if you're in a relationship, that would be kind of like, oh yeah, you know, this person has flaws and so do I, but I'm really happy to be in this connection with them. And I think you're also going to be paying attention to the things that make you really grateful for this connection. Whereas if you're not in a relationship, I think that you're just going to be recognizing that you don't have to force this process to happen, that you'll know when the right person comes along and you can just enjoy yourself for the time being. I also think with the self, it talks about the soul. And so I think that you're going to be looking at things from a much more soulful perspective and deeper perspective. So if you've been dating and looking at people from just, okay, what job do they have? How much money do they make? What's their family like? I feel like you're going to be a lot less concerned about those factors. Not that they won't come into question at all if that's something you care about, but I think you're just going to be looking at people as a whole and where are they at in life and what are their values, what truly matters to them. And I think because that's where you're at as well. And I think that this is a really beautiful energy to be at. And another message that I'm getting, if you resonate with the concept of being in a divine counterpart connection, whether physically or just having one, I think that you're going to be coming a lot closer to yourself and releasing a lot of judgment and pain towards a counterpart or towards your expectations of what that connection should look like. So for some of you, if you do resonate with being in a counterpart connection that's maybe not in a traditional 3D physical union, you might be realizing, okay, I want something more serious. That person isn't able to give that to me. And maybe accepting that and just kind of seeing what's out there and learning more about yourself, or just recognizing that maybe there's a lot of value and just doing whatever will make you happiest for now. There's just a prioritization of self that is being highlighted here, and I think that's really beautiful. So let's go ahead and see what is coming up next with these oracle cards. So to start, we have Patience. We have Sagittarius with IC. We have Soul's Window. Listen to what speaks to your soul. We have Your love life has been complicated, all for very good reasons. You must learn these lessons to attract the love you deserve. I'm going to put that there. I hope it's in the frame. And finally, we have Sensuality. The frequency of sensuality reminds us that as spirits in human bodies, we are sensual beings experiencing joy and pleasure from the physical world through our senses. I actually think I'm gonna fix this a little bit. Okay. All right, I like that more. So yeah, this is kind of basically what I was already saying, but I think that there's more tied into like your creativity when it comes to your love life. I feel like not only are you having upgrades in your solar plexus, but I think you're going to be having upgrades in your heart as well, where you're recognizing that you don't need to be in such a rush for anything. And in fact, there's no reason to rush. I think you're going to be recognizing that there's a greater plan to everything. And rather than toiling over what isn't happening right now or what you wish was happening right now, you're going to be recognizing what you can control here and now. And I think that's going to bring you a lot of clarity and a lot of freedom. Not only that, I think that you're also going to be experiencing a lot more zest for life again with the Soul's Window. Listen to what speaks to your soul, purpose, passion, truth. And Sagittarius, I feel like you're going to be recognizing that there's a lot of value to having your own freedom right now. Whether you're in a relationship or not, I think that if you are in a relationship, you're going to be experiencing more freedom. I also think you're going to be experiencing more intimacy with this person, but also recognizing that there's more to life than just love, which is kind of ironic because this is a love reading. But I think that all of the lessons that you have been learning are culminating into you having more compassion for yourself, a lot more creative inspiration. And I think that you're going to be a lot more focused on areas of your life that actually don't really pertain to love, but things that you yourself love. So whatever you feel passionate about, whatever resonates with your truth, you're going to love investing your energy into that. And I think it's actually going to take your focus off of love in a romantic sense, sort of. Not that it's completely off the table, but I do think you're going to be reaching a point where you're recognizing that you are maybe putting too much focus and too much pressure on yourself or too much pressure on the universe to reach a certain point in your romantic life, or to get to a certain point in your romantic life when it just wasn't really time yet. So I definitely think that you're allowing the universe to run on its own clock, I guess. And the beauty of this is you're just going to be having more fun. You know, this fun and sensuality card, I think, go pretty hand in hand. You know, it says I don't know if I read this, but the frequency of sensuality reminds us that as spirits in human bodies, we are sensual beings experiencing joy and pleasure from the physical world through our senses. So I definitely think you're going to have a focus on connecting to your body, self-pleasure, things like that. But also, you know, you might be having some fun with other people. I mean, if you're in a relationship, I think that maybe you and your partner's like physical connection is going to be maybe a little bit more like fiery, or a little bit more intimate and comfortable, in a way where, like, you know, maybe before you both were just a little bit too self-conscious, and instead you're kind of losing your logical mind and allowing yourself to be more in the moment. For some of you, I feel like this time is going to be a time where you're really connecting to your deeper spiritual truths and kind of grounding that spiritual energy through creative purposes and just through being in your body. And I honestly, what I just really see here is like a deeper integration of understanding in terms of why you've been on this path, why things haven't turned out maybe the way you've wanted them to before. And there's going to be this reignition of passion, hot and fresh out the kitchen. What's that song? The remix to Ignition. I don't know why that's coming through. But with the Sagittarius card, there could be a Sagittarius, maybe you're Sagittarius, or a Sagittarius in your life that you could be involved with, or that you may find brings a lot of interesting insights into your life. But I definitely think you're going to be recognizing why the universe has you in whatever position you are in life right now, and embracing it rather than being frustrated that it's not what you particularly wanted. I think you're going to find the beauty in complications and learning these lessons to attract all the love you deserve. I think that one of the things you are learning right now is how to love yourself in the way that you deserve. And, you know, of course, self-love isn't everything, but I do think that self-love isn't going to feel like a challenge. And that is such an awesome place to be in, because instead of thinking like, oh, I need to love myself more, I need to focus on myself more, it's just going to be this natural shift where you're like, okay, what do I want to do today? Or what could I do right now that would make me really, really happy? Like, what can I do to honor myself more? What is my body asking me for? You know, what do I feel I need right now? What are my emotions telling me? There's just a greater presence in yourself, in your body, in your own awareness. And I feel like you're really just going to be spending time with you in such an awesome way. And I just like, man, I got snaps for pile one, man. Like, this is such awesome energy. And I'm so excited by this, because you may be like, oh, but I would rather like, you know, have like a mushy gushy reading or whatever. And it's like, yeah, those are great, but like, you can't lose this, in the sense that the more you learn to forge a connection with yourself, the more you listen to what your heart is saying, the more you learn to love yourself and provide for yourself, the more empowered you're going to be in every area of your life. And not only that, if you are single, this is going to make you attractive as fuck, dude. And not only that, when you're in this place of loving empowerment towards yourself, you're gonna recognize where maybe in the past you would have settled for something that wasn't in alignment with your highest good, or you may be able to recognize red flags in other people or connections that you weren't aware of before, because maybe you were putting someone on a pedestal, or maybe you were overlooking the red flags because you wanted to feel more connected to someone. There's just a lot of deeper awareness about why the universe works the way it does and how it is truly working for your highest good. And I think you're just going to be realizing like, oh, I can see clearly now, like the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. And you know what's awesome too is like all these rainbows, like you're seeing the rainbows after the rain. And I think that you're just gonna be very grateful that you didn't force something to happen, or that you didn't give up on yourself or give up on what the universe is trying to tell you, because through all of this self-work and this self-discovery, you're not only recognizing how absolutely freaking precious you are, but also you're gonna be recognizing how much you always deserve this, and how much like the universe has wanted to give you all these things. And you're gonna be recognizing that like, oh, like your purpose in life, your passion, the things that you love, like those will fuel you in a way that romantic love never could. But it's something that's going to attract more romantic love into your life. Even if you already have a partner, I feel like it's just going to make you more attractive to your partner. It's going to make you feel more unapologetic in terms of asking for what you want. And if you're single, I feel like you're just going to be recognizing that like romantic love was never going to scratch the itch that you had internally, because I think what you're realizing is that maybe you were using romantic love or the desire for romantic love or more of it to feel more satisfied, but I think the universe has kind of been stalling that and holding you back to recognize that that wouldn't have satisfied what was inside of you. And so what's really happening is you're forging a deeper connection to yourself, having more compassion for yourself, having so much more love for yourself, and it's like just gonna get you in alignment with everything. I just love this energy so much. This is so beautiful. This is so freaking beautiful. Like, and I love that this is lemon calcite too, because it's almost like life has been giving you lemons this whole time, and now you're finally making lemonade with it. So we're gonna get into the tarot now, and we are just going to ask a couple of different questions and see what you can do in terms of taking action in your love life, like what you need to know, things like that. I can't remember what this tarot deck is called, but it's skeleton themed, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. So I'm just gonna call it the Skelly deck for now. Kind of hard to shuffle though. And yeah, we're just gonna see what Spirit wants you to know. I'm also interested to see if you, I don't know, if you have any, like, if you're not in a relationship and you have any, like, friends with benefits going on right now. That might show up in the extended, we'll see. And I did want to mention the extended, we're going to be looking at your next physical encounter. I'm going to kind of go in detail into that, so if you're interested, that'll be linked below. But let's go ahead and start by asking what you can do, what you're already doing that is helping bring more love into your life. So Spirit, what is pile 1 doing already that is helping them bring more love into their life? And if you're not doing this, then Spirit's just saying, start doing this because it'll help. Okay, so we have the King of Pentacles. So I definitely think that this is you focusing on your material comforts. Give me a second. I think that this is you focusing on your passions. I also think for some of you, this could be related to a person in your life. Whether this is your partner, maybe spending more quality time with them. This could be related to an earth sign. I almost said Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but those are the water signs. The earth signs are Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. So maybe you are forging a deeper connection with yourself on a physical level, like maybe paying more attention to what you're eating, paying more attention to your exercise routines, focusing more on fiscal security, financial health. Is that a thing? Financial health, something like that. Maybe focusing more on what you can do to secure yourself and the people that depend on you, or the things that depend on you. With the King of Pentacles here though, if this is like a guardian-esque figure in your life, asking them for advice, asking them for guidance, the King of Pentacles is an excellent figure to bring guidance to others. But I could see this representing yourself, and in that case, I think what you're doing to bring more love into your life is just focusing on creating security for yourself, focusing on sensual and like physical comforts and pleasures. So like, you know, sheets that feel really nice, food that you really enjoy, cultivating experiences that you're really going to like. Focusing on your comfort and your security and your physical realm is helping you feel more safe to explore your emotional depths, and also it's helping you recognize your worth and your value. The King of Pentacles is a really, really wonderful energy to be in, and I really feel this more so pertains to you. But if there's anyone in your life that you could recognize as a King of Pentacles figure, I think that they could have a lot of useful advice for you in terms of how to implement more self-care in the physical realm, or just have like sage advice for you that you might really appreciate, that helps you get into the energy of love more. But I think more so than anything, this is just about bringing security to your physical realm, and I think that that security and that freedom to explore your sensual pleasures and sensual passions is bringing about a lot of happiness, joy, love, things of that nature. But it's not even like crazy joy, like jumping for joy. It's just like a secure, calm joy that I think Yeah, you deserve that. Okay, so what is pile 1 doing that is actively blocking them from being in alignment with love? Okay, we have strength. So I definitely think that this is a lack of compassion for yourself, and also areas where maybe you are allowing your ego to override what your heart is telling you. So when it comes to your ego, the ego is, you know, not something that you want to be ashamed of or anything like that, because it's a part of you just like anything else. But your ego might stop you from listening to what your heart is trying to tell you, and it may also cause you to be more hard on yourself than is necessary. I'm just gonna pull out an ego card real quick and see if there's a specific ego response that you need to be aware of. What ego response? Okay, well, this is 3. Okay, we'll take those. So we have, I forgive myself for feeling as though there exists a person that could replace me. I choose to believe that I have a gift that no one else is capable of sharing the way that comes naturally to me. And when I embrace my passion, I own my place in the world. We also have, I forgive myself for creating confusion by adjusting my vision to reflect what others want to experience through me. I choose to believe that when I make my vision my own, I invite others to clarify their desire and seek its fulfillment independently. And we have, I forgive myself for mistaking achievement for a measurement of my worth. I choose to believe that although I may find myself drawn towards achievement, my worth is not in any way defined by the extent to which I am capable of attaining my goals. So yeah, so maybe you've been less compassionate towards yourself when it comes to like taking care of your needs, and instead pushing forward in terms of like achieving, or worrying that maybe there's someone out there that's better than you. So for example, like if you're in a relationship with someone, you may have found yourself kind of pushing your partner away out of fear that you weren't good enough for them or something like that. Or maybe you've been beating yourself up for maybe not performing in a way that you typically did, or feeling less inspired or less encouraged. I definitely think that the biggest thing blocking you right now is just your own ego being really hard on yourself and not allowing the voice of your heart to kind of shine through. And so I think that when you're trying to align with the energy of love, it's important to remember that your heart is never going to chastise you. Your heart's never going to bully you. Your heart's never going to belittle you. So when your anxiety is screaming at you, or your ego is telling you that you're not good enough, you know, tell that voice, you know, okay, I mean, I wouldn't even say thank you for sharing. I would just be like, okay, but what does my heart want to say? And give room for your heart to come through and give you any messages that may come forward. Like, actually make space for that, because the ego can be really, really loud. And I think what you need to know is that when it comes to your heart space, your heart will always give very simple, comforting answers that you can trust and rely on. And I think when you are beating yourself up or being hard on yourself or feeling like you should be doing more, you should be further than you are right now, just remind yourself you're exactly where you need to be. There is no reason to be beating yourself up. There is no reason to be tearing yourself down. You are doing amazing, and there is absolutely no reason to be so hard on yourself. So let's go ahead and see what action you can take to be in alignment with the energy of love. We have the Knight of Coins. So I definitely think that this is more so a focus on routine and making sure to carve out time to spend time with yourself, to make space for what your heart wants to let you know come through, but also to make sure that you're just taking care of yourself in really functional ways, like making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure that you're taking care of your hygiene, taking care of your environment, your space, and almost like scheduling time to do things that you enjoy as well. I feel like if you're not a very regimented person, it might be really easy to kind of lose balance and maybe be all work and no play, or completely ignore work and just focus on what is satisfying you in the moment and then creating a lot of stress for yourself in the moment or later. So I think the biggest thing that you can do to align yourself with love is cultivate a healthy self-care routine, whether that be like, you know, taking time for meditation. Now, meditation does not just have to be, you know, sitting in silence. It can be dancing, it can be walking, it can be anything you want. I'm not even on TikTok, and still TikToks are like infiltrating my life. As I was saying that, I could hear like, I could be brown, I could be blue, whatever that TikTok is. But anyway, with the Knight of Pentacles being here, just taking methodical action on a daily or every 2 to 3 day basis, doing things that are going to bring you fulfillment, bring you refreshment, bring you back to yourself and back to peace. Those are the best things that you can do for yourself. And I think what you need to remember is you, like, your vessel, the vessel that your soul is in, aka your body, needs as much love as your soul does. And, you know, the more you can show yourself love through physical interactions, the more you're like teaching yourself that you are worthy of love, you're worthy of compassion, you're worthy of care. And that's also going to help attract that into your life more as well. But I think the biggest thing is just consistency, showing up for yourself, actively making time every single day to listen to what your heart wants to tell you, or to journal, or to do something that just makes you feel connected to yourself, makes you feel worthy and valued and loved. I think that is just the biggest thing. So are there any external factors outside of, okay, so we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. So it seems like you may be waiting for some sort of offer, or you may be feeling like no offers are coming your way. And Spirit might be confirming that in the sense that maybe you are getting offers, but they're not necessarily what you want. Or, you know, maybe you're separated from your partner right now, maybe like physically, or maybe you're just kind of out of, you're not in tune with them, you know, like when you're in a relationship with somebody, but you're just kind of not on the same wavelength. That might be something that you're dealing with. And I think it's actually going to be aiding you and helping you cultivate a connection with yourself. But you may also be dealing with a lot of people in your external life that are really struggling to love themselves and really struggling to make positive decisions that are going to be in alignment for their highest good. And I think Spirit is saying, you know, leaning on those people or seeking out those people for advice or guidance may not be the best use of your time, because they may actually just enable habits of yours that you've been trying to distance yourself from, that you've been trying to stop doing. I feel like there's a lot of just self-sacrificial energy around you, where people are maybe making decisions that are not of their highest good because they're in pain or they're dealing with their own things. You know, no judgment, but maybe just having discernment of where opportunities or people maybe aren't aligned with your spiritual truth. That doesn't mean you have to be mean to anyone. That doesn't mean you have to like reject anyone. It just means, you know, maybe recognizing when a certain energy is not going to be very helpful for you, is not going to fill up your cup. You know, it's like going to actively stress you out rather than bring you more happiness. The more you focus on cultivating more love for self and more awareness of yourself, the more you may realize that you're going to attract people that don't know how to fill up their own cup and may try to consciously or unconsciously drain what's in your cup in order to feel more fulfilled. So I think what you need to be aware of is setting healthy boundaries with people who don't make you feel good when you're around them, and making sure that you're not allowing those sorts of people to affect your own energy and tamper with your ability to feel aligned with yourself. I feel like you just need to be reminded that, you know, everybody's on their own journey, and that's okay. You're not responsible for helping others fill their own cup. You're using your energy to fill up yours. It doesn't need to be your responsibility to fill up theirs or teach them how to fill up theirs. Like, everybody has their own journey and they're just as capable as you are. You know, some people are just less willing to do that themselves. And I think that instead of falling into narratives of pity or things like that, just recognizing that we're all on our own journeys and you don't have to be responsible for where somebody else is at or make their pain go away, I think can bring you more peace when it comes to making decisions that are going to be in alignment with your highest good, not someone else's highest good. So just remember that. And I also think as well, you know, don't feel like you have to make any decisions out of pleasing others. Your decisions in the near future are going to be out of pleasing yourself, not other people. So to finish off, I just want to see if there's anything that you should release that will help you be more in alignment with love. So we have the High Priest and we have the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so I think the biggest thing that you need to release is how you traditionally look at serving others and helping others. With the Six of Pentacles here, it does seem like you're very generous with your time and energy, and it seems like a lot of people either come to you for advice or come to you for comfort and guidance. And I think that Spirit is saying, you know, you don't need to give all of that away. I feel like you need to release this idea that you always have to be generous towards others and always helping others. I mean, it's great to be kind and help others, but you have to help yourself too. And I think what you maybe haven't been realizing is that you've actually been kind of depleting yourself by trying to almost like even the playing field with the people around you, or try and make the people around you feel more fulfilled as well. I think you need to release the expectation of how much time and energy you need to give others. And I think the more time and energy you spend with yourself, the more you're going to realize that you were giving way too much of yourself away. I think it's time to kind of pull yourself back and give more of your time and energy to what feels fulfilling to you, what fulfills your soul, and let go of what you feel like you should be doing, what you feel like is the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do from an external societal perspective, but instead the right thing to do in terms of what's in alignment with your truth. You don't owe anyone anything. And if you're doing well in life, if you're happy, you don't have to welcome people into your space that are feeling the exact opposite. You can be a good, loving friend from a distance and hold boundaries. You can hold space for someone without taking on what they're dealing with, and actually trusting that people have the tools to work through their own issues and that the universe is supporting them the way they're supporting you will actually give you a lot of freedom to recognize that it was never your job to fix these things in the first place. And I also think as well, feeling like you have to give more than you receive, letting go of that idea and recognizing that relationships should be an equal exchange, and when they're not that way, that you have no obligation to put that much energy into them. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with some advice before we get into the extended. I'm actually also going to pull you a message from Kuan Yin, because actually last night I was reading about Kuan Yin being associated with the pearl, so I figured she might have a message for you. But let's look at these first. So we have growth. I want to expand my consciousness and awareness. So yeah, things that are not going to help you expand your consciousness and awareness, I think Spirit is saying you don't need to dedicate your time and energy to that. We also have go the distance in reverse, and I love this because Spirit is literally saying, like, you don't have to go above and beyond for anything or anyone other than yourself. And even then, going in above and beyond for you, I think is literally just like allowing yourself time to rest, allowing yourself time to be in touch with yourself and be creative and be free and not feel like you have to spend all of your time pleasing others or doing what other people want you to do. Spirit is literally saying, give yourself time to rest, give yourself time to enjoy the present moment. Think about how you can improve your present moment. Instead of projecting this fantasy of what you want in the future, think about the moment that you have right now and how you can make this present moment more pleasurable for yourself? Is that getting yourself some tea? Is that going for a walk? Is that spending time with a friend that aligns with your soul, or spending time with a loving family member, or going for a walk? Literally just the small things sometimes can make all the difference. So I feel like Spirit is saying the shifts that need to happen are a lot more with your inner awareness, and a lot more just with you recognizing that you don't always need to do. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just be. You're a human being, not a human doing. We also have, surrender to what is. Flow with what is instead of fighting it. When you can't change a situation, compassionately accepting it exactly as it is will bring you peace. Yeah, I agree with that. And we have harmony. You are able to feel a loving, balanced connection with everything. I think that's where you're truly headed, is this place of harmony, and I just think that is beautiful. So we're going to finish off with a message from Kuan Yin. And this deck, by the way, is by Alana Fairchild. And honestly, if you want to get closer to your own spirituality or closer to your own truth, anything by Alana Fairchild, I highly, highly, highly recommend. She's awesome. Her decks, her books, everything is awesome. But let's go ahead and see. Kuan Yin. Okay, that's too many. We don't have time for that. So one card, please. What message do you have for pile 1, please? We have the Book of Changes. Let's go ahead and see what that says. So that's the thing. These aren't really cards you read intuitively. You go into the book because there's a lot of really good shit in here. All right, let's see what she wants to say. Please forgive me if I pronounce anything wrong. I'm doing my best with my hillbilly accent. Okay. Just like a beautiful but unusual melody, the divine plan is unfolding through your life. Although it isn't always predictable, Kuan Yin is guiding you in the right direction, even if you do not fully understand what is happening in your life right now. Allow Kuan Yin to bless you with trust in the unfoldment of your own divine path. The Book of Changes is always at play, helping us find our way. You are just taking a smarter route to your destination. Sometimes situations or circumstances occur that seem to take us away from our desired goal or cause us to question whether we need to take matters into our own hands to achieve our desired manifestation. Even if we do not understand why something is happening the way that it is right now, with patience and experience, the wisdom and helpfulness of a situation is often revealed, and we can marvel at how we were assisted through the workings of a higher intelligence that we did not understand at the time. Just like an experienced guide on a mountaintop, Kuan Yin has traversed the spiritual path over many lifetimes to arrive at her enlightened and compassionate state. She is very wise, and she is blessing you with her grace. Even if that grace seems to be a dark cloud, a delay, an unexpected disappointment, or even a wonderful new opportunity in a different direction, she can help you avoid pitfalls that you do not need to encounter if you trust in her guidance. She can read the Book of Changes and understand the divine plan unfolding through you to help lift you on your divine path with the least struggle. You are being asked to trust and allow the circumstances in your life to unfold right now. If there are delays, don't force an issue. Let it settle and sort itself out with as little interference by you as possible. You do not have to let anyone take advantage of you, nor do you have to prevent yourself from expressing truths and feelings about whatever is happening. However, you are guided to trust that no matter what appears to be the case right now, this detour or unexpected situation is a blessing from the divine plan, confirmed by Kuan Yin, assisting you in avoiding unnecessary problems later on as she corrects your life direction and helps you move forward with greater grace on your divine path now. So I'm going to show you the healing with the Book of Changes if you want to do that. And then there is a prayer here. It's on page 111. So love that sync, and I'm not sure if there's anything on the other side yet. So you can say that prayer as well if you feel so called to. Just screenshot that and then you will have it. But pile 1, I am leaving your reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here. I'm going to move things over to the extended now, where we are going to be looking at your next physical encounter. But if you are leaving me here, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for watching my ads. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me. But if you'd like to support me in any other way, like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates, subscribe if you haven't already. You can also click that little bell button to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can also check out my merch, which is linked below, as well as my social media, which is linked below, though do be aware I have tons of scammers impersonating me, especially on Instagram. So if it is not linked from my channel, it is not mine. And I'm also not offering personal readings. So if anyone says they're me and trying to offer you a personal reading, they are a liar. But that is all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for letting me read your cards. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Thulite heart, this is going to be your reading on what is next in love for you. So we are going to start by looking at who the person of interest or who you need to know about coming up next in your love life is going to be. So to start, we have the Starborn. We have maturity. We have the 8th house with intimacy, investments, intensity, contracts, sex, erotic capital. I don't even know what erotic capital is. Secrets, mysteries, obsessions, inheritance, stalking, the underworld, and we have the frog. So straight out the gate, want to list off some signs that I'm getting. We have water energy here, which would be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but I'm getting heavy Scorpio with the 8th house, and also with the number 3 being here, gave me kind of March Pisces energy, even though the end of March is Aries, but I was getting more Pisces. And then I was also getting a lot of Aquarius energy, but this person does not have to have those placements whatsoever. The vibe that I'm getting about this person, for some of you, this could definitely, actually, I would say if you're not in a relationship, this is most likely a new person or somebody that is coming in that is so different it's like they're new. But for the majority of you, I get the vibe that this is a newer person. And actually, I think that they have a very, very stabilizing energy that I think could be very helpful and useful for you. If you are in a relationship, then I would say this is your partner, but there is a regeneration in your relationship with this person where it kind of seems like you both are committing to being more serious with one another and really starting to open up with one another about maybe like inner child trauma or wounds that you both have, and learning how to heal together and open up with one another. But for those of you who are not in a relationship, we're going to talk about who this person is. So I definitely think that this is someone a bit eclectic and unique. With the Starborn card being here, I do feel like there's an aspect of, I don't like to say necessarily fate or destiny, but it does kind of seem like this person was meant to be on your path. And I do think that they are going to be a very healing presence. It does seem like when you meet them, or if you've met them already, they're kind of on this journey where they're trying to heal and heal emotionally. It does seem like this person is kind of closed off in certain ways, but they have the intention of wanting to be more open and transparent. For some of you, you may find that this description actually sounds like you. And if that's the case, then you could either be meeting someone who's very similar to you, or what's next in love could be you gaining a much bigger understanding of yourself, which is always really good when it comes to love because it helps you be a more transparent lover, a more honest lover, and it helps you understand what you actually want and don't want. But this person definitely has been through the ringer a bit. And I think that they're kind of wary of romantic connections or connections in general, but they haven't ruled them out completely. I do think that this person is more comfortable with like a friends with benefits energy, or that may be something that they kind of default to, but they do have this intensity to them where it's like if it's the right person, they could really go all in, and I think that kind of scares them. They may have been more impulsive when they were younger, like getting almost kind of drawn into particular energies that are maybe more sensual or erotic. And this doesn't even have to be in like a sexual way. Like, you know, you ever like just have like a really good piece of cake where it's just almost like sinful, like kind of that, like this person, I feel like, so there might be some Taurus to them as well, some Taurasian energy, or maybe Taurus season could be significant, because if you're watching this when I upload it, we're in Aries season right now, so that would be upcoming in May. But I do think that this person has a genuine heart, but their heart has been toyed with in the past. And I think that they already have a hard time connecting to people in general, because I do think they just have a very eclectic way of looking at the world. And I think that they have had the misfortune of opening their heart up to the wrong people. And this almost kind of seems like it was meant to happen in this way, because it kind of woke them up in a very necessary way, where they realized that not everyone necessarily deserves access to them. And I think that this person, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if they've gone through a Saturn return already, but that doesn't have to be the case for all of you. But I do just feel like this person has been growing up a lot in the past few years, and they've really just kind of anchored their precious watery energies with better boundaries, more protection, and they have a bigger commitment to healing. I do get the vibe from this person like they could have had an identity that was wrapped around, what's the word? They could have had an identity wrapped around being in pain, I guess is the best way I could put it. And they may have used that identity as an excuse to partake in coping mechanisms that aren't necessarily very healthy. And I feel like this person has finally seen through a lot of their own pain. They're kind of getting to the root where they're realizing, it's raining really hard right now, by the way, I want to mention, which is kind of interesting with this frog card, it's also raining. It's almost like the clouds have been clearing a little bit, and this person is starting to realize that they are not their pain, and that in fact they can empower themselves and use their pain as a catalyst for healing rather than as an excuse to drown. Because I think that's what they did in the past, but I think they got to this point where they were just kind of tired of suffering. And I think that they were tired of not feeling connected to someone. And so I think what's really happening here is you and this person, I mean, you might be sitting here and being like, this literally sounds like me, and it could quite well be you, but I do also feel like this person could just be very, very similar to you. I also think that it's almost like meeting this person or reuniting with this person for a select few of you, it's gonna be something that's like, you could almost time it in an astrology chart. Like, it does almost feel like major transformations were meant to happen for the both of you before you two could meet or you two could reunite. If you're in a relationship with this person already, I feel like the biggest thing that's shifting is that this person is no longer so resistant to healing. It almost kind of gives me breakthrough energy, where they're starting to recognize where maybe they have taken things out on you unfairly, not in like in an extreme way, but maybe they haven't really necessarily looked at where their own pain has blinded them to seeing things in ways that are more objective. And I think they're starting to feel safe enough to open up to you about painful things in their life that maybe they haven't opened up to, like, with anyone else about. There's a deep level of trust here if you're already with this person. And I think that this person really, if there has been any hardships in this relationship, I think that they're going to be more committed to wanting to heal them in whatever way is going to be best for the both of you. But one thing that I definitely see here is a new beginning, no matter what, no matter who this person is. And I think that there's a lot of perspective shifts this time around, where not only is this person gaining a lot of insight, but you're gaining a lot of insight into yourself and how you've changed and what has shifted about your values when it comes to love as well. But I think what's really interesting is, honestly, I'm getting much more of a vibe like this person definitely feels external. Like even if you feel like this sounds like you, I swear, like this person, I think that this is a person that's just very similar to you. But of course, this is a general reading and there can be a lot of different interpretations. I think the biggest thing is that this person's heart chakra is coming back online in a way that it hasn't been. I feel like this person has had a very blocked off heart chakra and they haven't been very comfortable expressing their emotions or opening up to other people. And I think that your influence is going to be something that is very, very healing to this person and vice versa. I think that maybe if you've kind of been in the same position, it's almost like being two oranges in a world of apples and like finding each other and being like, oh my gosh, like what's up with these apple freaks? Like, you know, like, man, it's hard being an orange in this world. Like you guys are just gonna bond over that, I guess. So let's go ahead and see what is shifting with this person and what you are going to experience with this person. So to start, we have solitude, which I know might be like, oh, wait, really? But let me get there. We also have the earth element with stability. We also have integrity, number 25. The energy of integrity supports our choice to be consistently truthful and honest while being guided by high moral standards. We also have the field of flow, let go of expectations and control, release, freedom, and surrender. And we have you are abundant in all areas of your life because love is influencing your decisions, which I love. And I didn't do this for the other pile, but I felt really called, like, spirits. I was gonna do this before the reading, but then I was like, nah, it's not fair, because like pile 1 didn't get this. But like, just don't tell them. And if you're coming from pile 1, I love you. I'm sorry. It's not because I don't love you. It's just because sometimes spirit tells me to change the cards. I feel called to pull a flower card to kind of round this out. I'm kind of curious to see what's gonna come out, but Spirit, what is next for pile 2 when it comes to love? We have false indigo, immersion and intuition. When you reach the end of what you should know, you will be at the beginning of what you should sense. Oh, this is interesting. I like this. I also wanted to mention, and we have sweet pea on the back of the deck. Blissful pleasure. Follow your bliss and the universe will open doors where there was only walls. That's beautiful. So you can take that sweet pea as like extra confirmation for something. But anyway, this is a really beautiful place to be in. I feel like if you're not in a relationship now, I don't think that you're necessarily like, you could be meeting this person soon, or spirit might be saying like, hey, you know, if you're trying to distract yourself with other people that don't really feel like you're gaining much out of, or like you're benefiting from, they might be saying like, hey, hold out, because there is someone that we're trying to bring in that actually is very aligned with you and could be really healing and healthy. If you've met this person already, I definitely think that it's going to be a very slow build to you being in a commitment with them. And if you are in a commitment with this person already, I definitely see that this connection is strengthening in really beautiful ways. And I feel like the connection between you and this person is becoming very trustworthy and intuitive, where like you're gonna really be able to read each other. And I think that if you've had fears and worries in the past about this person's loyalty, or like how committed are they to you, I think you're gonna recognize that like this goes both ways, and like this is something really real. This is a transformative connection, if I'm being honest. And even if you don't know who this person is yet, when you meet them, you'll know. I do have to stop for a second because I've had like so many songs flowing through me. This could be a musical person, or they could inspire you musically. But before I started the reading, I was hearing Goodies by Sierra, which is not necessarily a very romantic song. But that could be confirmation for someone. I was also hearing Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. And as I was looking at this card, I just heard Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. So any of those songs could be significant. But this is definitely a really beautiful time where no matter if you're with someone or not, Spirit is gearing you up to be in some sort of authentic commitment with someone, should that be what you want. Even if it's not a commitment that you're seeking someone, or you're kind of, whether you're intentionally doing this or not, you're kind of putting out the energy that you're ready for something more real and something that is caring and nurturing. with the Solitude card being here, if you've met this person, there might be lulls in you seeing them or hanging out with them. That might be due to travel restrictions, or maybe this is long distance. For others, this could be maybe that you and this person have like opposite schedules, or you're working a lot, or you're just finding that when you do spend time with this person, whether virtually or in person, afterwards, it's almost like you kind of need to decompress, not because they're a lot, but I think you're going to be learning a lot about yourself through this person, and it's going to be very transformative, and you're just going to be like, huh, like I never realized XYZ about myself. Like, it's so interesting that they showed me this. But what I really love about this energy is like you and this person are going to be showing each other the same respect. You know, with this integrity card being here, I love that this card is here, because this person is not going to be like giving you the runaround. This person is not going to be very hot and cold with you. I feel like if they need space, if they need time, they're going to tell you, and they're going to be straight up about what they're looking for, about what they want. And I also think that it may take them some time to open up about their emotions, but once they do, you can trust that they are real and true. I feel like this person isn't going to talk about how they feel about you emotionally until they've really had time to sit with them and feel sure about something. Especially if this was the type of person to get caught up in fickle energies in the past. I think they're recognizing where they need to be able to trust themselves to make decisions so that they're not messing with anyone's head or messing with anyone's life. This person is really going to see you as something very valuable, as something that they are very, very intent on keeping pure. There seems to be a purity about you that this person recognizes and that this person sees in themselves. I feel like this person has been more jaded by life than you have. And you might be like, I've been jaded by life a lot. Yeah, no, this person is like double jade. Shout out to the babes named Jade. Maybe the name Jade, or like something to do with Jade could be significant actually. Because this light color green seems to be like popping up a lot. I do feel like there's an aspect to this person that is just going to be very grounding, and also just help you not feel less restless. Like, even if you don't get to see this person all the time, just knowing that they exist, I feel like you'll feel their energy. And you'll feel that connection, and you'll feel this kind of safety where you're like, I don't need constant interaction or stimulation around them. Like, I feel like being around this person is going to make you feel more comfortable to sit with yourself, and sit with yourself in ways that maybe you haven't in the past. It's like this person is going to be able to see you in ways that other people haven't. And it's going to kind of be like a, once again, catalyst for you being able to access areas of yourself that maybe you understood less before. This person could be interested in astrology as well. And maybe that's something you both talk about. But I do think that like the best interactions with this person are going to be spent like with quality time with each other, just one-on-one. And I think that it is going to be something that builds slowly, but it's something where I feel like you both are kind of working on building a solid foundation on your own, and that is influencing your ability to build a solid foundation together, should that be something you both want. With the field of flow being here, let go of expectations and control, release, freedom, surrender, I feel like you both are really just allowing this connection to be what it may, and just see where it goes. It's like neither of you are trying to control anything. Neither of you are placing any expectations. You're just allowing things to happen. And I just think this is a really healthy energy, and this is really awesome. One thing that I notice is like, even when I'm channeling in this pile, it just, all of the information coming through is like very chill. It's just very like, it's just coming straight through. I don't feel like, while I am looking for the right words to pull, it's only because I want to do this energy, like the service of making sure I'm saying the right words. Like I don't want to miscommunicate anything. And I think that that is something that this person and you are both going to be very committed to. Like, this is not the type of person that's going to like let's say you said something and it rubbed them the wrong way. They're not going to like internalize that and be like, what do they mean by that? And like, well, maybe they hate me. Like, they're gonna say, hey, like, you said XYZ. They might like take time to reflect on it, but they'll like bring it up to you and be like, what did you really mean by that? Because I kind of took it this way, but I'm not necessarily sure if that's how you meant it. This person is extremely self-aware, almost to a point where it's kind of detrimental, because it's like, dude, like, they're a genuinely kind person and they're very hard on themselves. And I think that's an aspect that they're gonna see in you as well. But for some of you, I feel called to say that this might be the person that your soul knows you've been looking for, and it might be something that you have to wait a bit to happen. Because if you're in the middle of a transformation, I feel like this person is going to come when you're on the tail end of it. When you reach the end of what you should know, you will be at the beginning of what you should sense. And that's the biggest thing about this person, is you're just gonna sense like this is my orange. Like, they are different. They are not an apple. I mean, you can flip it up. You can be whatever fruit you want. But with you are abundant in all areas of your life because love is influencing your decisions. You're really going to bring this person in, and not only bring this person in, but like feel secure in all areas of your life, because you're going to recognize how taking decisions from a place of love rather than a place of fear brings so much more peace and contentment to everything that you're doing. Like, one example that I can give, just like from a self-care perspective, you know, maybe you want to stay up super late, like playing The Sims, right? But you've got something early in the morning, and you know that if you stay up way too late, you're not going to be your best self for whatever you have in the morning. And so it's like, okay, well, what would love do? Well, love would say, hey, The Sims is super fun. Totally agree with you on that. But we need to be our best self for tomorrow. So how about we go to bed tonight, and then tomorrow night we can dedicate some extra time to just video game it up and have some fun and make sure we get rested tonight. It's almost like just being more mindful of what's really going to be helpful for you, what's really going to what's going to help you be your best self and make you feel stable and secure. Like, if you're a more chaotic person, you're going to know this person is coming in when you start shifting into this more stable version of yourself and like wondering, like, where the hell did this version of me come from? Like, what is in my drinking water? Speaking of drinking water, make sure you're doing enough of that, by the way. But if you are in a relationship with this person already, like, I feel like you're gonna just be in this energy where it's like, this is my person. I'm really happy. Like, I feel safe and secure in this connection. We don't need to put any time limits, time frames around anything. And I feel like you and this person are just going to kind of know, you're going to feel the same vibe, you're going to be on the same wavelength, and you're just going to kind of allow life to happen and go on this journey with this person, or continue on this journey with this person, and have this secure feeling like, oh, like, this person has my back and they love me and I can talk to them about anything. I think that's one of the biggest things with this intimacy card. You're going to be able to talk about anything with this person. And I just get this like warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart. Like, I'm keep telling myself I need to start pulling your tarot cards, but I just like don't want to stop. Like, just feeling into this energy because it's so beautiful. And if you're like super single right now, I just want you to know that like this person is out there, and I think they're going to surpass your expectations. And I really just feel like you need to know that like you are so lovable. And if you feel like you're not, like, that is just your brain lying to you and your insecurities lying to you. But just don't lose out on that beautiful heart you have, because it is one of the things that this person is going to love about you. Oh my God, I want to cry. They're going to love your heart so much, and you're going to see this person's heart as well. And even though you both may have wounded hearts and hearts that have been through some shit, you both are going to see each other's strength and be that like backbone for one another, where you can be like, okay, yeah, like, you can be safe, you can be vulnerable with this person, and they're not going to use those vulnerabilities to to antagonize you or to make you feel small. This is somebody who's going to like build you up and make you feel safe, and they're going to be patient with you, and they're going to be honest with you. And I feel like Spirit is saying, you know, if you're trying to force something that doesn't feel right, I mean, it's up to you what you choose to do, but Spirit is saying patience is a virtue, and it may very well be a virtue in this case if you're searching for this type of person, but you don't see that in anyone you're talking to, I think Spirit might be saying, hey, this is like a destined point in your life. Focus on your own self-transformation. Keep focusing on yourself, because like even if you haven't met this person yet, like your soul and their soul like are aware of each other, and it's like Spirit is playing like the long chess game of life to align the both of you. But that's kind of how divine timing works. But what I really just like need you to know is like, not only are you super lovable, but this person is out there, they totally exist, and man, you're just gonna be really happy you didn't settle for something that wasn't true to you. But I feel like if you're already in a relationship with this person, definitely comment down below and like talk about your experiences with them, and like let those other pile 2s know like what it like, how happy you are, how this person has helped heal you, because there's just a lot of healing energy here. And like, while yes, it's true that there are often things that we should heal before we go into a relationship, there's no such thing as being fully healed. And like, relationships themselves can be very healing, and you can do a lot of healing in relationships. You don't have to be a perfect person in order to open yourself up to someone. And you know what's really interesting is I do get a bit of a chaotic vibe from some of you. And I feel like this person may be different from like your usual like type and expectations, but you're gonna realize like they're not what you want, but they're what you need, and vice versa. But I also get this like silly, goofy vibe with the both of you, and that's why I chose this deck. I actually haven't used it with anyone else, but we're using the, I might say that wrong, Tonlalone tarot deck, and I'm kind of excited to see what comes out here. And I will mention, by the way, there is going to be an extended where we're going to look at how the sex with this person is going to be. Since this is a very clear and distinct person, I don't think we're going to look at like who it is next. I kind of want to look at what it's going to be like with this person and what that connection is going to be like. Because with this 8th house here, I think there's going to be some juicy shit. But anyway, let's get into the tarot now. So the first thing I want to ask is what you can do to feel more love, to bring more love into your life in general. So Spirit, how can pile 2 bring more love into their life? The 7 of Cups. Okay. So I think Spirit is really telling you to be okay in the idea of getting lost in fantasy, to really immerse yourself in the things that maybe you wouldn't typically immerse yourself in because you try to have like a grounded and logical approach, or you believe that certain things aren't for you. The 7 of Cups is very dreamy and very like, it can be almost kind of dazed and confused. Maybe that's a significant movie. But what I'm really seeing here is that Spirit is giving you permission to kind of escape into stories that bring you back to the energy of love and that make you feel like magic exists. So whatever movies those are for you, which I'd be kind of shocked if Dazed and Confused is that movie for you, but you know, just movies that like bring that sense of love and like magic. Like Pixar movies are an excellent example of that. Princess and the Frog, oh my god, I didn't even think about that with like that being there, but like Princess and the Frog I think is like literally just such a good movie, even though the depictions of tarot are completely inaccurate. But you know, it was 2009 and it's Disney. That's a rant for another time. But anyway, I just feel like anything that could help you embrace like the magic of love and like the feelings of love. And they don't even have to be like love movies. Anything that gives you that feeling of like childhood whimsy and wonder, and like anything that brings you back to the core of yourself and also makes you just feel like optimistic and hopeful about the world, do that. But I also think that Spirit is giving you more permission to kind of be in your daydreams, like in this solitude energy, like fantasize about what kind of relationship you want to have, or if you're in a relationship, fantasize about what you want with this person or what you want to achieve, or anything that can get you into that more just honestly kind of a Piscean vibe where you're like kind of just feeling into yourself and your emotions. I think with the 7 of Cups here, to add more love into your life, I think you almost kind of need to add more magic to it in the sense of like whatever makes you feel lighter, whatever makes you feel more whimsical, whatever reminds you that magic exists. Like, put more of that in your life and give yourself more freedom to just daydream and think about what it is you truly want. Like, especially if you have been very jaded by life, I think it's important to remember sometimes, like, even though life is hard, like, the universe can surprise us in really magical ways. And also, like, media is there for an escape, so use it how you want. Like, bro, if you play The Sims, manifest with The Sims. I swear to God, it works. It works. So, like, whatever kind of life you want, like, map it out in The Sims. Like, play in it, have fun. Just, I think having more fun and giving yourself the freedom to kind of get lost in the unseen, I think is just it's going to be very useful for you. But let's see what is blocking you currently from love. The Five of Cups. Okay. Okay. Man, I think this guy is just so freaking accurate. I definitely think that you may struggle with, I don't want to say crying over spilled milk, because I think that, like, being upset with yourself is, like, totally valid, and, like, wanting things to be better, wanting things to be different is, like, totally valid. I think with this Five of Cups here, though, you may be too focused on what you don't have right now and not focused on what you do have. You know, you see this guy and he's just, like, kind of, first of all, he looks very sunburnt. And he's not focused on these two. And he's out in the desert, by the way. And he's looking at these 3 glasses that are spilled. But there's 2 that are upright right behind him. And so I think what Spirit might be saying, first of all, the sun is also representative of, like, masculine energy and ego. So maybe your ego is kind of being mean to you and, like, telling you that you're not good enough, or telling you that you need to be better, or playing all of your perceived failures, like, in a loop and just trying to make you feel like shit. And I think that you're having a hard time having compassion for yourself, especially if you are in some sort of rut. And so I think what is really blocking you from love right now is the lack of permission you're giving yourself to be a flawed human being. Because guess what? You are a flawed human being, just like me, just like everyone else. Nobody is perfect, and you cannot hold yourself to some unrealistic idea of perfection, because it doesn't exist. It honestly kind of seems like you're actively burning yourself because you're not living up to the expectations that your ego is giving you. But you have to remember that the expectations your ego has are not necessarily attainable or possible. It's just the ego being the ego. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with having an ego. Like, our egos are there to protect us. They're there to nurture us. Well, not to nurture us. They're there to protect us. And they just have really horrible ways of going about it. But I'm just going to pull an ego card really quick and see if there's anything you need to forgive yourself for when it comes to your ego. Okay, I'm going to take these 2. So we have, oh, this is great. I forgive myself for mistaking confusion for a lack of direction or ambition. I choose to believe that confusion is a divinely orchestrated invitation to create clarity so that I may passionately participate in the creation of the life I want. So this directly correlates to the 7 of Cups energy, where instead of recognizing that your uncertainty is not you not having a direction, or it's not you failing, like, it's just your opportunity to explore the potentials and possibilities for what your life could be. You know, you don't have to have everything figured out. And I think, especially with social media, it's just so easy to think that, like, everyone else has it figured out and, like, everyone else knows exactly what they're doing. But I'll tell you what, buddy, I don't have anything figured out. Like, I don't know what I'm doing on, like, a daily basis. And I still constantly panic and freak out. And it's because I'm human and I'm learning. And, like, you just need to know that, like, you're not alone in just having no fucking clue what you're doing, and, like, that's okay. We also have, I forgive myself for avoiding people and situations that may make me uncomfortable. I choose to believe that each time I give myself permission to change my mind and commit to a new way of showing up in the world, I allow myself to be moved to where the possibility of deeper comfort exists. Yeah, so I definitely think that, like, you know, obviously there is such thing as, like, toxic positivity and things like that, but, like, I feel like the word toxic positivity is thrown around too much. Like, positivity itself is not toxic. It's when we don't acknowledge the negatives and the hard things that are going on in our life. Like, here's the thing. Negativity is also toxic, and more toxic than positivity, let's be honest. And if you're only sucked into negative ways of thinking, negative energies, there's nothing wrong with that. Negativity is contagious, and it's really, it takes hard work to like shift your perspective. And honestly, when you're stuck in a negative perspective, positivity can honestly be like super painful. And so I think just having a realistic perspective and recognizing, at least just like having a balanced perspective and be like, okay, XYZ in my life is going kind of shit and that sucks, but ABC is going really well or isn't causing me any issues, and I'm going to be grateful for that while still being maybe kind of frustrated that these other things aren't going so great. But I'm going to have compassion for myself no matter what. I feel like it's just like, yeah, there might be 3 cups that are spilled, but at least you have 2 upright. It doesn't make the 3 cups that are spilled suck any less, but it helps a little bit to know that there's at least 2 upright. I think it's just changing your perspective, and you may not be able to do that on your own, and that's okay. Like, seeking help to change it as well can be very useful. You don't need to do everything yourself, and you don't need to rely on yourself for everything. Let's see what action you can take to be in alignment with love. We have the Queen of Cups. Yeah, so you need to start getting more in touch with your emotions. So I definitely can understand why this person is going to have a lot of water energy, because you may be somebody that really struggles to be compassionate towards yourself, to be nurturing with yourself. If you have anyone in your life that is very emotional and very compassionate, maybe listening to them and listening to their perspective could be helpful. They could be a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but they don't have to. I think the biggest thing here is giving yourself permission to nurture yourself and be more compassionate with yourself, and give yourself the room and the freedom to not be so dang hard on yourself all the time. I feel like no matter what your gender identity is or what your sex is, like, everyone has feminine and masculine energy. And I feel like maybe you've been leaning too heavily into your masculine energy to the point where you're not giving any space or room for your feminine energy to kind of take over and remind you that you're doing great, you're doing amazing, sweetie, and that you deserve love and compassion just like everyone else. If you have a positive relationship with like a nurturing feminine figure in your life, I think that they could really help remind you, you know, all why you're so lovable, or all the beautiful things you already have in your life. But especially with this Queen of Cups being here, I feel like understanding Queen of Cups energy, like, I would literally Google the Queen of Cups tarot card and like learn about it and learn, like, this also kind of goes into psychic abilities as well, but I really feel like in terms of this card, learning to open your heart up more to the things that make you happy, to the things that make you just feel held and feel nurtured and feel loved. I think that's really going to help a lot. And I mean, if you notice, we have a lot with emotions here. We've had all cups cards so far. So I definitely think Spirit is saying part of the reason why things may not be happening for you in the realm of love, or you're not experiencing them in the way you'd like to, is because you're not really sitting in your emotional body or allowing yourself to be in your emotions, period. But let's see if there's any external factors outside of your control that you should be aware of. Okay, Temperance, that makes sense. Oh my God, yeah. Okay, so we have Temperance and we have the 4 of Wands. So Spirit's saying it takes time to get to this 4 of Wands. I definitely feel like this is, for some of you, there could be like a wedding that's like really stressing you out. Like, I don't know if you're in like the wedding party and you've got things going on, or there's some kind of big party that you have to like, or like some sort of finish line that you have to reach. But with the Temperance card being here, it's more so about trusting the universe and allowing things to come into alignment and trusting that they're going to happen in time. I do want to say Archangel Michael specifically is protecting you throughout this process. But I think the external factor is waiting on the universe and waiting on yourself to kind of get to that point where you're ready to be in alignment with this. But Spirit is saying, like, just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's not coming. It just means it's not time yet. And that you're like a divine cake, you know, you're still baking. It's not time for the decorations yet. It's not time for anything else. It's time to be in the oven and bake. And if you're already in a relationship, I think that one thing that Spirit wants you to know is that, first of all, it takes 2 to tango. And sometimes you might project this idea on your partner that, like, they're not making me feel complete or something like that. And Spirit might want to remind you that maybe sometimes it's not that your partner isn't showing you love. I mean, maybe you need to communicate love languages and what makes you feel loved. But if you don't even know your love language, buddy, that's where you need to start. But also, you know, make sure you're being receptive to love. Because sometimes, you know, other people can be as loving as they want, but like if you're not receptive to the energy they're offering, it's not really going to be very helpful for you. But we're just going to go ahead and finish off by seeing if there's anything that you should release before we get into advice. And that is the World. So, wow. Okay. Well, that's kind of a heavy card to end on. But I do think that this is more so like, it's maybe less of what you need to release and more of just like learning to accept, getting into this field of flow, letting go of expectations and control. I think the biggest thing that you can release is trying to control things and having expectations, because it does seem like there are a lot of cycles that are outside of your control that the universe is kind of creating for you. Or I guess what I should say is that life is happening for you, not to you. But I think it's really important to remember what is your responsibility and what isn't. You know, obviously, there's always things going on in the world that are really overwhelming, that are really stressful. And it can be very overwhelming to want to be informed and also like take care of your mental health. So I think Spirit is saying, you know, remember what you are capable of controlling and what you're not capable of. You can still be compassionate and take care of yourself. But I think Spirit is saying, remember not to put the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's not yours to carry. There's so many things that are not yours to carry, and it's important to remember what is actually within your control and what isn't. I also think that if there's like an old cycle that you've kind of come out of and there's things that you're ready to let go, I think doing anything that you can do to kind of heal these old cycles and cut cords with things that no longer serve you could be really useful. I think Spirit's really just saying, you know, now is the time to leave the past in the past, and while the past doesn't necessarily leave easily, it may be time to start focusing on how you can heal and accept your past so that you can use your present wisely and look more optimistically towards your future. But we're going to go ahead and get into advice now and see what Spirit has to say for you. So I love when they just confirm what I was saying. Surrender to complete healing. Open fully to the loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. We have kindness. You are a humanitarian made of love, and you are able to share that energy with others. I do want to say, though, when it comes to sharing that energy with others, make sure you're not giving kindness from an empty cup. Start with yourself first. I think the biggest person you need to extend kindness to is yourself. I think that you're very hard on yourself. And while it may be easy to be compassionate with others, it might be very hard to be compassionate with yourself. But you have to remember that you deserve the love you so freely give to other people. We also have honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. And I think that honesty and integrity kind of go hand in hand. So the more you're honest about where you're at in life without shaming yourself or judging yourself for it, the easier you can be open to methods of healing and methods that could, you know, just make your experience on this earth a little bit less harrowing. And finally, we have a change in the wind. So yeah, Spirit is saying things are already shifting for you, and they're actually going to turn out better than you think they are. If you're like super single, you don't know who this person is, this 12 is almost like making me feel like it could be a full calendar year before this all kind of comes together. And I don't want that to make you groan, because first of all, it could be entirely wrong. And second, this 12 could be like anything, because 12 does reduce to 3, and we have that 3 here. The world is 21, another 3. So 333 or 3s in general could be a significant synchronicity. But really just the vibe that I'm getting is that like a lot of your biggest job right now, whether you're in a relationship or not, is to really focus on how you can help heal yourself and just make life in general easier for you. If you do have a partner, I think that this next step in your relationship is going to be about how you both can collaborate and make life easier for each other, how you can make your relationship feel more secure and feel more intimate. And I think that's going to come with a lot of communication and a lot of compassionate communication and having compassion for yourself. And if you don't have a partner, I think this is going to be a time where you really start to focus on your healing and recognize where you may be using other people or like almost placeholders as a way to kind of fill a void that they're never going to fill. Like the only thing that's going to fill this void and bring this person to you that like if you've gotten this far, you're definitely wanting to have in your life, is going to be kind of surrendering to what the universe is telling you and be open to what you need to transform and grow so that you can be in alignment with the situation. But I'm gonna finish this reading off before we go into the extended and have some more fun with an oracle card from the Sacred Rebels Oracle by Alana Fairchild, because I felt called to pull it. So these always just have, you know, really eloquently put messages, more eloquently than I could channel. So let's just go ahead and see. Spirit, what message do you want to leave pile 2 off with today, please? What message they need to hear? Oh, we have another 3, inspiration. Ooh, and there's bees, and those look like tiger lilies and dandelions. So any of those could be significant, but let's go ahead and see what the book says about it. So, by the way, if you want to do healing or focus more on healing, anything by Alana Fairchild, whether it's a book or a deck, just absolutely primo. I don't use them. I'm going to try to use them in my readings more because I just feel like they're awesome, and she just has so much wisdom, and I feel like it's valuable to share it with other people. But, like, these are not things you read intuitively. These are things where you really, really utilize, like, what she puts in these, because, like, they're absolutely amazing, and they're just really helpful and really healing. So, yeah. There's where you can start if you want to do it on your own. So we have inspiration. An idea has captured your attention or will do so very soon. It may be a grand vision or a vague sense of something that can be. You are being encouraged to accept a vision, the idea, or inspiration as it is important to your creative and spiritual growth. Also, it is possible. The bee is bringing you healing, medicine, wisdom from nature to aid the message of the Oracle of Inspiration. The bee is a powerful spiritual totem. Bees are able to fly with wings that are significantly small in proportion to their heavier bodies. They can do so because of the sheer speed with which their wings move. Your idea, even if it seems like a big, substantial plan that might be difficult to get off the ground and up and running, can succeed. You will attract great helpers to you, and the earth will support your success of this project, idea, or vision, because it is about helping the greater good as well as your own growth and development. When the Earth Mother lends you nature wisdom to support your healing and growth. Oh my God, it's on page 33, by the way. I just noticed that. Man, Empress energy. And up in here, if you okay, sorry, I lost my place because I got distracted. ADHD. When the Earth Mother lends you nature wisdom to support your healing and growth, you know you have an exceptionally powerful ally to your cause. Let this bring you confidence. Allow inspiration to fill you with enthusiasm and expectation of magic and marvelous synchronicity as people, situations, and opportunities fall into place to help bring your inspiration into reality. This idea has the potential to flower into much more than you realize. It has great potential and can become something that feeds and nourishes others on their creative and personal healing paths too. It has the quality of a mission and is so much more than one singular idea. When an inspiration comes from the greater creative intelligence of the universe, even when it makes itself known as an idea coming through a human source, all that is needed to bring it into being will be available at the right time. For the human channel of the idea, it is just a matter of being open, receptive, trusting, and enthusiastic about what has come through. So I do want to pause here because even though this might be a message about something completely different, and maybe you meet this person like through this idea, but when it comes to this sentence, it is just a matter of being open, receptive, trusting, and enthusiastic about what has come through. I feel like that is like the attitude you want to have towards life and like love in general. So I feel like that's important for you to remember. I got lost again, sorry. Everything required for each step will be naturally attracted to support the success of the project according to divine timing. The healing process below will help you manifest support needed for your inspiration to take flight. This oracle also comes with the message that you are a vehicle for inspiration. You are meant to think and do things differently. You are capable of receiving fresh ideas that are not so out there or different that they stop being practical, helpful, and wonderful. You are asked to avoid the trap of doubting your ideas are special or interesting enough. Your inspiration comes from the universal creative source, and you are being asked to believe and recognize the signature of great intelligence within your inspirational ideas and creative urges and to act accordingly. To sum up, this card indicates sweet success, like abundant honey, is coming your way through your commitment to and the development of an idea you already have had or will soon receive. See it through the end and believe. So I'm going to zoom in on this healing process. You can screenshot that and go about it, but that's really something you should do on your own time. But I really love this message because it literally says here, you are abundant in all areas of your life because love is influencing your decisions. So this idea that you have or that may come to you soon, act on it, because it could be the thing that brings you to this person and brings everything in alignment and brings you comfort and safety and just helps you recognize that the world absolutely loves you and wants to see you succeed. But I am going to move things over to the extended now, where we're going to look at what this person is going to be like. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be fun. So if you want to meet me over there, that will be linked down below. But if you are leaving me here, which is absolutely okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here. If you'd like to support me and support my channel, you can leave this video a like. You can comment down below. Let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell to be part of my notification squad. You can also check out my social media, which will be linked below, though do be aware I have tons of scammers pretending to be me. I do not offer personal readings, and if someone slides in your DMs saying that they're ASO and they want to consider you for a personal reading, they're a scammer and a liar and a loser. And I have merch as well, which is linked below. But that's all I have. So thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you so much for letting me read your cards. I really hope that this brought you clarity and helped you in some way. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, Pile 3. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Selenite heart, this is going to be your reading on what's next in love. So to start this reading, I just want to see who you're going to be dealing with and kind of the vibes. We're sussing out the vibes and just seeing what we need to start out with. So to start, we have the Shadow. We have Firefly. We have Influence. And we have the Numinous, Mystery, the Unknown, the Unknowable, ESP, Psychic Abilities, Cosmos, Universal Truth, Oneness, Source, Shadow Work, Inner Knowing, Tingling, Ghosts, Otherworld, Space, Enigmas, Occult, Intuition, and Sextile, with Opportunity, Collaborates, Assists, Explains, Provides Opportunity, Synergizes. Yeah, let me make sure this is all in the frame. Yep, it's not. Let me fix that. Oh, I guess it kind of was. All right, okay. So, Pile 3, your cards are really interesting. I actually pulled Sextile, and your person's... Okay, well, I guess this is the thing. I don't know if this is a person. For some of you, it might be, but for others, there is an element to this where, like, could be quite a few possibilities here. So I'm just gonna have to dive into all of them individually, and you'll have to see which one fits. And if none of them fit, I would say maybe try a different pile. But starting with the Shadow card here, I feel like what's next in love for you is less about a person and more so about you and your shadow side and shadow work. So if you've been doing shadow work already or thinking about it, this shouldn't really come as a surprise to you. It's kind of interesting that we have the Selenite heart here. I love Selenite, and sorry, Mr. Heart. If you want a stone that is not only going to cleanse other crystals, but just raise the energy of your environment, I would definitely get Selenite. It's a super cheap stone. I mean, don't get it wet. It's kind of delicate, but it's such a great stone to have if you want like just clarity and just better energy in a room. It's a great stone, which is why I have it everywhere all the time, especially if you have any Cancer placements or if you feel really connected to the moon. Selenite's going to be great for you. But this is what's interesting. For some of you, this very well could be a person. It could be a person you don't know yet. It could be a person that you're on and off with. If you're in a relationship with someone, though, this is definitely not a person. If you're in a relationship, this is more so about you, but it could have a little bit of this person too. Well, what's funny is when I was like looking at these cards just to make sure I was like prepared, I was like, okay, this person is so vague that I need like another card to clarify. So I pulled this mystery card, and then it was like Spirit was literally trolling me. They were like, it's a mystery. Use your psychic abilities, queen. So for some of you, if you're currently dating, what's next for you in love seems to be an amalgamation of opportunities to learn more about yourself. This could come through one person, this could come through multiple people, or you may not be like interacting with really anyone, but you may be taking major strides in your shadow work and learning a lot about yourself. The shadow in this card specifically talks about things that are like aspects of yourself that you wouldn't necessarily want to address, but it seems like if a loving, authentic relationship or a committed relationship is something that you are really wanting, it seems like the universe is saying this is the hurdle you have to jump through in order to get there and be successful. If you're in a relationship, I definitely think that this upcoming time may be a little bit challenging, but it will reap very worthwhile rewards. This is really about you and your partner, or you yourself, facing aspects of yourself that maybe you weren't aware were there before, or that maybe you haven't really recognized as being problematic or as holding you back, or just not being in alignment with your highest good. With the sextile opportunity here, I do think that some of these experiences could heighten your psychic abilities or heighten your trust in the universe. The best way I can explain it is like, if you have a feeling that intuitively something is going to happen, and let me say this, intuition is not anxiety. Intuition screams, anxiety whispers, and paranoia is not intuition either. If you have an intuitive feeling about something positive happening to you in your love life, or something happening in a very specific way, I would be saying right here and now that I think you can validate that. And the work that's about to come up may be what needs to happen before that psychic hit can come to fruition. But if you have this terrible paranoid feeling like everything is going to shit and everything is going to be awful and things are just going to be super, super bad, that's anxiety and paranoia, and I'm not going to validate that. But if your intuition is telling you something simple or to the point, I would definitely be more willing to validate that and trust that. What's really happening here is you're going to be facing a lot of aspects about how you view relationships and how you interact in relationships, and what's helpful and what's not. Not only that, I think that you're going to be getting a much greater awareness of the things that people tell you that are either not relevant or just not helpful or not in alignment with your truth. With the Firefly here, I do feel like you've been getting closer to your light. Maybe you have been just doing more spiritual work. For some of you, I get the vibe like maybe you're kind of just starting this spiritual path, or you're just kind of starting to gather your bearings, and now the universe is like, okay, we're ready for like the intermediate coursework. Let's start digging into ourselves. And the universe is bringing about a lot of opportunities for you to look at your shadow. However, for a select few of you, this could be talking about somebody. And if this is a person, I don't think that this is a person you're in a relationship with. In fact, I think this is a person that is either very triggering or very irritating to you. They don't seem to be someone that follows through. They don't seem to be somebody that is a very positive influence or a very helpful influence, but you may feel drawn to them for one reason or another. Or they may seem to just be continuing to like follow you around, not in like a weird way, but almost like a shadow. Like they may just be drawn to you, and you might find them triggering. And for some of you, this may not even be a romantic interest. This may be like a friend or a coworker or something where they just trigger a lot of shadow energies within you. And while that may not directly deal with your love life, it does deal with aspects of yourself that you're either needing to be aware of or needing to heal in order to prevent certain blockages in the future when it comes to your love life. It's like you don't see how you may not see in like the immediate vision how it may be connected, but in the grand scheme of things, it's connected. With this influence card here, though, I do feel like one of the biggest things that you're going to be dealing with in this upcoming period of time is starting to be more discerning about the advice you take from others and how much you're willing to share with others. I definitely think that your perspective is ascending. I think that you yourself are ascending, and I think as you're ascending, you're getting deeper into yourself, and you've been doing a lot of like really good work in terms of like, okay, maybe this belief isn't necessarily as true as I thought, or maybe this habit or this way of looking at things isn't necessarily true. Maybe it's just my ego's way of perceiving it. It's like the more you're learning about yourself, the less you realize you knew, and you might be a little bit unnerved by how blindly you were walking through life before. And that's not a bad thing. It's honestly a good sign that you're growing a lot and you're learning a lot. But with this Firefly card here, there may be times where you feel really frustrated because you might be dealing with these frustrating shadow energies, and you're not always getting the burst of, that's why this is happening. You know, like a firefly, their light isn't lit up all the time. You know, they come in bursts. So you're going to be dealing with certain phenomena that bring about shadowy energies. And that is an opportunity for you to dig into them and see, okay, why is this happening? And you may not understand immediately why it's happening or what issues it's bringing up. But what is going to happen is through time and through experience, which for some of you and in certain experiences, it will happen immediately. And for others, it's going to take some time. It might something might happen. And then 2 weeks later, you're like, oh my God, I understand why that was happening. Or like, you finally connect the dots, but there will be bursts of like, oh, I get what the universe is trying to tell me now. And it's going to help release. It's funny that I said that as I was like burping, which, but I do that a lot when I'm channeling, because it's just like releasing energy. But it's like once you have these aha moments, it's going to be a lot easier to not judge or shame yourself for the shadow energies that come up. And instead, I think you're going to be dealing with yourself with a lot more compassion and recognize that you're actually a lot more self-aware than you thought. It's just a matter of being able to own the parts of yourself that maybe you're less proud of, and recognizing that we all have these shadowy aspects. If this is a person, I don't necessarily see them being in your life long term. If they are, I don't know how much you can put up with them, because if this is a person, if this is showing up as a person, I feel like one, they're not very deep. Like they kind of give me Peter Pan energy. Like they're very childish. They don't look at things from a very deep perspective. They may be very opportunistic and just kind of going towards whatever is bright and shiny and new. I don't even really think they're a very romantic person or interested in that at all. But if it is a person, and that sounds like someone that you're dealing with, I do think that this person could be some sort of catalyst for a deeper awakening or a deeper understanding of yourself. Maybe you've been attracted to people like that, and maybe this person will be the kind of nail in the coffin for you to recognize maybe why you've been drawn to those types of people. I mean, if that's the type of person you like and you're happy, I mean, go for it. But it doesn't seem like that's really what you're wanting. And so I think that this person is going to be like what really helps you shift your perspective on love and relationships. Now, if you are in a relationship, like I said, this energy is definitely something that is going to be shared between the two of you. But the vibe that I'm getting is that the main lessons are about you. I think one of the most frustrating aspects of this is that if you're in a relationship, your partner may have people talking to them about you, or vice versa, and saying things that are not necessarily true, but planting ideas in their head nonetheless. And I don't really think that this is coming from a nefarious place. I think on both ends, it's just people in your lives that care about you and want the best for you. And while they may have good intentions, or they may be well-meaning, what they're saying isn't necessarily accurate or helpful. So I think what's really happening here is this energy kind of seems to be happening no matter what. And like I said, it can happen in many different ways. You could literally be seeing nobody, but like these energies will come up anyway. You could be in a relationship and you're going to be doing shadow work, or you're seeing someone who's bringing out a lot of shadows, or seeing multiple people that give you the opportunity to see through certain shadows. Honestly, you could be in a relationship having a great time, and like these shadows come up and you just kind of work with them in your own time, or you're dating and having a great time, but these shadows are coming up. It's like things that you've avoided are finally coming to the surface, and the universe is like, nah, you got to deal with them. Not that you have to completely solve them, but it's like time to be more aware of it, because I think this process is going to give you more trust in yourself, more trust in the universe and how the universe works, the universal process. There's divine intelligence at play here. And while it may be very frustrating for you to deal with, it's not forever. Like, I honestly don't see this lasting. Well, actually, I don't want to give a time frame, but it's definitely not going to be like a super long-term thing. The universe usually dives us into these things in kind of shorter bursts, and we get out of them with a lot of clarity. But these, like, all of these experiences are going to be opportunities for you to grow, opportunities for you to work with the people around you and make your connections stronger. And it's going to give you the opportunity to really understand a lot more about yourself and recognize that, like, you're just as much of a mystery as the universe is and as this great world is. And I feel like even for some of you, I feel like this influence card isn't even anyone literally. It's just the universe, like kind of almost like the wind planting ideas in your head. Like, say, for example, someone you're talking to leaves you on red and it makes you feel triggered. I mean, there might be a voice that pops in your ear and is like, so pile 3, why are you feeling triggered? And then you answer and you say, and then so you might say, because it makes me feel unworthy or makes me feel abandoned or unimportant. And then that voice might be like, pile 3, why do you think this person responding is a measurement of your worth? Like, it's going much deeper than just what's on the surface. This isn't about ego games with another person. This is about you kind of getting to the root of what is holding you back from being authentic and vulnerable with another person, and what is holding you back from being open to love in a way where you're not only being realistic about what you want and need, but also you're like learning to become a better partner, because you can own your side of the mess. You know what I mean? Because like none of us come into relationships perfect. Like none of us are perfect. It's like you're learning to own the parts of yourself that aren't perfect. And even if you do that now, like just in a way that's at least more compassionate, because you may be self-aware where you only look at your flaws, and that's not realistic either. So I do think that part of this shadow work is learning to see yourself in a better light, and also recognize where maybe you're giving others too much of your time or too much of your energy because you may not feel worthy or you may not feel good enough. But let's go ahead and see how this energy, what this energy is leading to in your love life, because I feel like I've rambled on this mysterious energy long enough, and I think it's just going to take some more cards to really understand. So moving on, we have romance, we have grand trine, blessings, we have the 6th chakra with the energy of the third eye chakra, supports our inner insight and intuitive abilities. We also have the haunted staircase. Don't let what ifs haunt you, regrets, unsaid words, missed opportunities. We also have you're giving too much and not leaving anything for yourself. You may feel drained. Establish boundaries in your relationships. And finally, we have the flower of peony with prosperity and compassion. Prosperity depends more on wanting what you have than on having what you want. So this is definitely a mix of energies. Okay, the first message that I have is if you are dealing with that type of person that I talked about, where like this is actually a person and maybe you are wanting something more with them, I would be careful, because I don't know if they're here for a long time. They may only be here for a good time. Like, I'm getting this vibe that for some of you, this person maybe just loves that beginning stage in a connection, but they don't stick around long term. But for most of you, the vibe that I'm getting is things actually in a lot of ways can be going really well in your love life, especially if you're in a relationship and it's like there may be things that are on the surface, like on the surface, everything's fine, but internally you're dealing with shadows that maybe you're too uncomfortable to speak about or not ready to speak about. However, one vibe, that's my hair. One vibe that I am getting with this grand trine with blessings, romance, and the 6th chakra is that a lot of this energy could be the reward for going through this energy. You might be in this energy right now, and maybe me explaining this is like, oh my gosh, I'm not crazy. Like, this is just something I'm going through. Like, I do want to say, like, you're not crazy. This is just something that you're going through. So if you're currently going through this energy and like wondering what's going on, the universe is setting you up for something really beautiful. For some of you, this could be with a person from your past, but I don't want to say that for everyone. It's only because of that haunted staircase. Don't let what ifs haunt you. You may have the opportunity to have a second chance with someone if you feel like that, like if that's what you intuitively feel is coming. Spirit might be saying, okay, you need to be able to deal with your shadows so that you can speak with this person authentically. What comes from that, who knows? But maybe just even speaking it, like speaking your truth to someone could be the door that opens you up to a lot of new opportunities. Spirit wants to bring romance into your life. And if you are in a relationship already, I do see things actually getting better. The hurdle that comes before that though, sorry, I'm burping again, releasing negativity, right? The Spirit just did it a third time. Yeah, 3s are also significant here, I want to say, by the way. Like, we got 33, Grand Trine deals with 3s. I just burped. I've burped 3 times in this reading, you know, 3s and 6s. But anyway, so June 3rd could be a significant date. Or if you're watching this much later, March 6th. Anyway, this hurdle, if you're in a relationship, it's really going to be you and this person bringing to the surface your insecurities, the things that make you uncomfortable, being transparent. I feel like this is a lot about you though, and less about your person. Because a lot of what I'm getting is more so just your energy and what you're dealing with. But there's a lot of important growth to come from this. In fact, I think that there's a lot of like this peony card says, prosperity and compassion. And what's funny is that I'm being brought back to this Barbie movie. It's called Fairytopia. And I remember one time I was showing it to my friends and they were like giving me shit because, okay, first of all, it was one of my favorites. Not my favorite, but one of my favorites growing up. And one thing I liked about it was the fact that the protagonist doesn't have like a male lead, at least in the first movie. And I liked that. And they were literally giving me shit because they're like, there's no guy. Like, and I was just like, so what? She's a bad bitch. She saves Fairytopia. But like, okay, literally like premise of the story. First of all, that's where the meme of Bibble comes from. And I can't believe people shit on Bibble. This is a pro Bibble channel and you will put respect on Bibble's name. But anyway, there is like a toxic fume going around Fairytopia that stops everyone from flying because Laverna is up to her tricks and, you know, just being problematic. And the point of me going into this is that something that a part of you that you may have thought was a flaw, you may find is actually a strength that helps you see through a lot of toxic societal bullshit that might want to keep you small or keep you from being more real and transparent, and it's really actually going to help you. The interesting thing is that I'm really not getting a lot from this card. I don't think that you're necessarily giving too much and not leaving anything for yourself. I think that this established boundaries in your relationships has to do with this influence card. It's about how much are you actually going to tell people. One message I'm getting specifically is that if you have a difficult relationship with a mother figure in your life who either doesn't have your best interests at heart or does, but maybe doesn't give you freedom or doesn't give you like, and I'm saying this if you're over 18, which you should be over 18 if you're watching this, but I know there's some younger people out there, but like, truthfully, if you have a mother figure, I would be careful. If you have a mother figure that doesn't necessarily always give you the most helpful advice or doesn't always seem to be in your court, I would be very careful about what you tell them and what advice you take from them, because there almost is, and this doesn't necessarily have to be a mother, this could be just a figure in your life that it maybe is very, I don't even want to say protective, but maybe they like you in a certain way. They like you subservient to them or close to them. They don't like the idea of somebody taking you away from them. That is something that you might be experiencing, and you might have to practice setting boundaries with that figure. That's not going to resonate for everyone. Remember, this is a general reading, but I felt called to talk about it if that is your circumstance. What I do really feel like, though, is that you're growing in a very pivotal way where you're going to be able to feel so much more confident and empowered, and the universe is actually coming to bless you in a beautiful relationship. So if you're already dating someone and you're like really passionate about this relationship, really happy, you're just dealing with shadows and like hurdles, you're going to get through them. And in fact, don't let what ifs haunt you. Like, do not hold back with what you're dealing with your partner. Be honest with them, whatever you're going through. I mean, you may want to wait until you've had a little bit of time to really sort through your feelings, but you can trust yourself to make the right decision and say what you need to say at that time. I feel like really what's happening is there's a huge division between what you're being told and what you feel intuitively. And the universe is saying, hey buddy, it's up to you to trust what you feel intuitively, because what you're being told isn't necessarily the truth. It's just the perception that others have around you. And I think one thing that you need to know is that if you're the type of person to put everyone before yourself, that is a huge shadow that you're going to be facing. And you're going to have to recognize why you do that and how that holds you back from having what you truly want. Because Spirit is bringing you the blessing of romance of some kind. And if you're aromantic, you may want to pick another pile. But maybe this romance is like not a literal romance, and like maybe it's a really awesome partner that's going to be very similar to you or something like that. But what I really think is happening is a huge upgrade in your spiritual world that is coming into your love life and upgrading whatever you're dealing with and bringing in something beautiful. With this grand trine being here, the person that it is, if you're single and don't have a person, who this is a mystery, because I'm not able to pick up on them. So that's either because you know exactly who it is and the description that I would get wouldn't match it enough for you to trust yourself, or the universe isn't letting you know because either it's a surprise or it's something you're not meant to be aware of right now. The universe will not tell you something if you're not meant to know it. I feel like the only people that will really know, listen, when you know, you know. So if you know who this person is, I'm validating that. If you have no idea who this is, I'm validating that, because the universe, when it comes through, you'll know. And it will be a blessing, because this grand trine here is really saying the work that you're doing now is going to reward you significantly and bring you someone who's going to be really wonderful for you and bring you a lot of prosperity and a lot of compassion. So they could be represented by peonies, or they could have like a P name. I just heard Peter, actually. Patricia could be significant. But I also, with this 6th chakra here, I feel like you may feel this person coming before they ever actually show up. You may have dreams about them or things like that. It's really interesting, because this could be a time where you're closing out old cycles in your life to get ready to make room for the new. So one thing that you may find is that a lot of relationships fall away before this one comes in. And I'm not saying this if you are already in a committed partnership, or if you're polyamorous, that's just too much. There's too many variables there for me to go into, but whichever relationship you're asking about, that's what I would say. But what I'm really seeing here is empowerment in a beautiful way. And it's just, you have to recognize that the energies that you're currently dealing with or about to deal with are not meant to drag you down. They're meant to actually lift you up and bring you more clarity and more wisdom. And because this is a general reading and there are so many variables, like there's so many, like the semantics of your situation is going to be different than somebody else watching this pile. It doesn't make it less valid for you or them. I'm so happy you both are here. It just means that one, you have to take it how it resonates, right? But also, you have to be able to trust yourself and the decisions that you're making, and trust that you can traverse whatever it is that you're going through right now. Tarot readings are a lot about validating what you're already experiencing. And so if you've been sitting here listening to this reading and you're like, girl, I have no clue what you're talking about, this may not be your pile. Because, selenite is all about like clarity and cleansing and charging things. And I think that is what this current cycle is about. You're addressing things that have been holding you back so that you can be propelled forward and have what you actually want. Like if you've been manifesting a romantic partner, that is coming to you. And the universe is literally saying, okay, pile 3, we need to address XYZ before this can happen. Or if you've been wanting to get a deeper and closer relationship to your partner, the universe is saying, okay, well, in order to do that, we need you to deal with XYZ, or we need you both to work through XYZ. And I think that this is an opportunity for you to take a lot of your energy back and start focusing on yourself again and focus on what you need to worry about. The biggest thing that you need to remember is that you are the most important person in your world. You came into this world alone, and one day you're going to leave it alone. Well, not technically, but like, that wasn't the best way to word that. But anyway, the point of what I'm saying is that nobody is going to live your life for you, and nobody is going to be your best cheerleader but you. And nobody's going to do the work for you. And there are so many people that, even if they are well-meaning, will want you to be a certain way to validate their ego or validate what they're going through. And that doesn't necessarily make them bad people, but it can at times make it bad for you to be around them if you're not able to set healthy boundaries, because that's how you can get taken advantage of, and that's how you can lose sight of yourself trying to please others. You only get this one life. Well, depending on what you believe. But this life matters. This is the one that you're in, and this is the one that matters right now, okay? And so what I want you to understand is that things might at times feel like detrimental or frustrating, or you're like, why am I going through this? This is so frustrating. When is the good shit coming? And the universe is like, it is literally on deck. We just need you to work through this shit so that when we give it to you, you don't squander it with lessons that you refuse to learn. The universe is literally holding this back. It's literally like just a few things. Like, you're closer than you realize, but it's gonna be hard in the moment to remember that. And I think you're just really gonna be challenged with what's comfortable versus what feels right. Because what's comfortable isn't necessarily what feels right. It's just what you're used to. It's just what you're habitually doing. And I think Spirit is saying, in order to bring in these beautiful blessings, you have to be willing to do what feels right rather than what it feels comfortable. And if people pleasing is what feels comfortable, that's a huge shadow you're going to be healing. But all of your experiences in the coming months are going to be to align you with this, or if you're already in a relationship, to bring you and your partner closer together and work through necessary issues to keep this relationship functioning and flowing. And I think one of the coolest things is that your psychic abilities are going to be getting more and more, I guess you could say, intense, or more stronger is not a word, but you could be saying they're getting stronger. I would say clairvoyance, especially, pay attention to your dreams, but also, like, you're going to realize that you can trust yourself and you don't need other people to weigh in on your life. Like, you can if you want to, but like, what other people think shouldn't be what gets you to make a decision. One of the biggest shadows you may be dealing with is learning how to trust yourself to make the right decisions. And you may realize that actually you are capable of it all along, and that you're so much more, you can trust yourself so much more than you realize. And yeah, okay, that's the point of what I was trying to say. So basically, there's beautiful, beautiful shit coming, but we got to deal with the shitty shit first. And it may not even be that shitty. It may just be small experiences, but for others, it may be bigger. It's just a gradient scale, and so I have to address all of it. So sorry if that is kind of irritating, but when you're in my house, you got to give me time to say everything. You got to let me say my piece. But yeah, so this is kind of mysterious. And this time is what you make of it. And I think Spirit is really saying, don't let this time pass you by and wonder if you had done things differently in the past, what would have changed. Because like now is your time to act and be bold and be brave and face what you've not wanted to face in the past, and be willing to look what's underneath your own hood and be like, okay, what's not working, what's not functioning. But yeah, this is actually really beautiful energy. It's just tough to work through in the moment, but you're going to be so proud of yourself when you're on the other side. So let's go ahead and get into your tarot now. I've been using different decks for each pile, and for you guys, I am using the Pastel Tarot by Vanessa Samina. And if you want to get this deck or anything from her site, Bow Life, I actually have a discount code, ASO10. So if you want to go to her site and get anything and get a little discount and support me in the process, there is a discount code, ASO10, that will get you 10% off. But anyway, speaking of me plugging things, I also have an extended for this reading. I'm actually really intrigued to see what's going to come through. We're going to be looking at your next sexual encounter. So it is going to be 18 plus. Be aware of that. And I'm kind of interested to see who's going to come through here, because there isn't a specific person that I'm really picking up on. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Definitely intrigued to see that. They've been pretty juicy so far. But okay, we're going to get into the tarot now, and this portion is really going to be about you, and I think this guidance is actually going to be really useful for you. So we're going to start by seeing what you can do to just bring more love into your life in general. Oh, that came out really quickly, so maybe easier. Okay, so we have the Lovers, which is the universe being like meta as fuck, but really this isn't necessarily about a person. Once again, it's about a choice. The Lovers actually is about a choice, and there's a lot of Gemini energy here, which I don't think I said earlier, but the Firefly does represent air energies, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And with the Lovers card here, I see this honestly as like two different parts of yourself. And it's kind of like learning to integrate your light and your your light and your shadow sides. And I was going to pick this up, but my nails. And it's kind of funny because they look kind of similar, these two diamonds. But essentially what Spirit is saying is the way you can bring more love into your life is to make choices that are going to align with what is most loving towards you and what aligns with the truth of love, not with the truth of people pleasing or the truth of satisfying your ego, if that makes sense. The Lovers, it can mean a lot of different things, but in this case especially, it really does feel like it's about choosing love, in the sense that you're choosing to make the decisions that are best aligned with your heart, not necessarily what others want or what's in someone else's heart. It's what's in your heart. With the Lovers here, it's like the way to bring more love in is to be your best lover, even if you have a lover, in the sense of looking out for your best interests and choosing you first. This is kind of a process of learning to fall in love with putting yourself first. And I think that if you've been starting to do that, keep going. This is the universe saying keep doing that. And in fact, do it harder. Like, choose yourself so hard that like there is no room for anyone else to intervene. With this Lovers card being here as well, I feel like Spirit is saying you don't have to eliminate. Okay, the phrase this and that are true is applicable to you. So recognizing that there can be multiple truths in a situation, and that doesn't mean that one of them is wrong. You can feel multiple ways about something. You can choose yourself and also recognize that maybe it's really uncomfortable to choose yourself, and that maybe choosing yourself might frustrate someone else. But if they truly want what's best for you, aren't they going to be accepting of you doing what's best for you? Because I promise you, people that are doing what's best for themselves will always be understanding when people need to do what's best for themselves. There are better ways than others than going about it. Clear communication is a really important thing here. But I definitely think that this is about recognizing that you're a multidimensional human being, and there's lots of different parts of you, and you don't have to fit into a certain box. You don't have to be the type of person Okay, I'm sorry, I'm struggling to channel because there's so much coming through. So And I'm apologizing a lot. I didn't apologize like this in the other piles, so you must be apologizing too much, and you must be struggling to word how you're experiencing life. And you may be using other people, not like literally using them, but asking them for advice as a way to like get the words that you need to truly understand what's going on inside. But you have the words, you just need to dig. You have all the answers within you just need to dig. Like, the biggest thing that I'm seeing here is that the love that you want to have, you can't see it as like out of reach. You can't see it as impossible. And the point of what I was trying to say earlier until I got sidetracked was that love for you should not be about becoming the person that you think will be the most lovable, but instead, love for you is giving yourself the room and the freedom to be who you are and allow the people that are going to love that version of you in, and not be bogged down by the people who don't love that version, because there are always going to be people that don't vibe with you. You could be the juiciest peach in the peach house, but some people just aren't going to like peaches, you know? Like, there are going to be people that you love, and there are going to be people that you don't vibe with. And if you're just someone who is consistently trying to figure out who to be to get the most approval, to get the most love for others, you're never going to be happy, and you're never going to find the right person, because every single person you're involved with, you're just going to be morphing yourself into who you think that person wants you to be, or who that person explicitly says they want you to be. So the way to bring more love in is to recognize what true love is for you, how you show yourself true love, and recognizing that the response that people have to it is not a measurement of your worth, but instead it's evidence of who is in alignment with you and who isn't. It doesn't make them bad people. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that some people resonate with others at different levels, and some people are not going to like it when you stop people pleasing and start focusing on you, because other people benefit from that. And so yeah, it's going to make some people upset, but when that happens, that's going to be all the evidence you need that they don't need to have so much of an influence in your life. So the best way to bring more love in is to start falling in love with who you truly are and own who you are, especially if you have a partner. Because I promise you, if you already have a partner, I would be willing to put money on the fact that your partner tells you that you people please too much, or that you're too worried about what other people think, or you don't show enough of the real you in the real world. I'm telling you, I bet the reason your partner loves you is because of who you truly are. I guarantee you, if you're in a relationship right now and you pick this pile and it's resonating and you do have a partner, this partner is pushing you to be more of yourself because they love who you are, not who you try to be, not who you morph yourself to be to get more approval. So yeah, that was a whole rant and a half, but hopefully that made sense. Okay, so what is blocking you from more love? And I also wanted to say that if you're not in a relationship, part of the reason why Spirit wants you to address these aspects is because when this person comes in, you may not recognize the right person, because if you're not acknowledging what's inside and what's true to you, like I said, you'll just morph to whatever's around you. But we have the Six of Cups and the Sun. Okay, yeah. Man, you really deny yourself the opportunity to be happy. There's definitely, okay, inner child healing, I need you to Google it. I need you to look into it, because there's definitely some inner child wounds here. And I definitely think you feel guilt about allowing yourself to be happy, allowing yourself to do things that you enjoy, and also just allowing yourself to be free. Like, if you're harshly critical of yourself and don't give yourself time for just play and fun, like, adults need time to play and have fun too. And like, whatever that is about for you, that is okay. And actually, I know what advice card I'm going to use for you at the end. I mean, I have other advice cards, but I have a specific one for you. What's blocking you from feeling love is your ability to allow yourself to have fun, your ability to allow yourself to do what makes you happy, not what makes other people happy, not what pleases other people. You might be trying so hard to figure out what the universe wants from you. You may not even be realizing that the universe just wants you to be you. They don't want you to be some picturesque Instagram model or some, you know, some public figure that you think is, you know, better than you. Spirit is asking you to look at you in your purest form is your child self. And so what you really need to do is form a connection with your childhood self. Actually, this is really interesting because I remember going through this phase in my spiritual growth where I started having like these insane like shifts back into like moments in my life of when I was a child and when my internal experience didn't match my external reality, and it crushed a part of me. Like, I'll use an example. When I was little, I was disgusted by the idea of eating animals. And I'm not saying there's anything like, I'm not here to make a stance. I'm just saying for me and my internal compass, like that was, I was like, ew, like what the fuck? Like I'm not doing that. Like it was literally disgusting to me. And over time, I was just shamed into eating meat. And now I can eat meat, and there is meat that I like. But one of the biggest things I did for my inner child was to decide that I wasn't going to force myself to eat meat because I thought I should. And in fact, I would only eat it if I truly wanted to, felt like it would sustain me, and like a lot of other things. But anyway, doing things that will bring joy to your inner child will be so helpful to you, because I think that you've just been bogged down by the expectations of life. You've been bogged down by what you should be. You haven't had the freedom to be you. And there's a really precious part of you that only you can really hold and play with. Like your child self is still a part of you. And there are certain adults where you're like, how were they ever a child? Those are just people that are like out of touch with their inner child. Like adults are just children in big bodies, and you don't need to feel shame for the nostalgic things you enjoy or the childlike things you enjoy. The biggest thing blocking you from love is your ability to allow yourself to be happy and to do things just for the sake of having fun, just for the sake of living and doing things that will make you happy. The Six of Cups and the Sun both have to do with children and childlike energies. So if you have children, or if you have like nieces or nephews or friends with children, spend time with them. Like their perspective is so pure, and it will really give you clarity into how, as we get older, our egos and the expectations of society really form how we think we should be, and really strip us away from like the magic of life and the magic of just existing as a human being. Like, I will say this, it is no measure of success to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society, and our society is profoundly sick. Every single society on this planet. There is no healthy, healed society on this planet. I don't care what anyone says. We are all trying our best, and if you wait for your external reality to validate what you're feeling inside, you are never going to be happy. And so this is really about turning within and allowing yourself to be open to more sweetness, be open to more love, be open to what is going to make your heart sing, what is going to make your heart happy. Watch those fucking Disney movies, watch those Barbie movies, like play with those old Polly Pockets, like do what is going to make you happy, because you only have this one life. Life is not all about work. Like, you need to integrate more play and more fun, because that is going to help you be in your heart and feel more free with it. Whew. Oh my God. Spirit is like popping off with your pile. Holy shit. Okay. So action you can take to be in alignment with love. What is that? Two of Pentacles. Okay. So this is about balance. This is about weighing what's working and what's not. So you may be taking more action to integrate more play and more fun, but this is about restructuring your all or nothing approach. If you don't have an all or nothing approach, this may be less relevant to you, but it's about how you value what you truly enjoy, because you may look at what you truly enjoy as not valuable because it doesn't bring in income, or it's not productive. Who gives a fuck if you're productive? Like, I'm not most of the time, but like I'm doing important things, like building a house in The Sims that each room is a different color. It literally benefits no one except me. I have thought about streaming though, so let me know if you want to watch me stream video games, because then I would be more active, because channeling is exhausting sometimes. But I love doing it. It's another thing that I love, but I have to find balance. You know what I mean? This is about me though. This is about you. And the thing that you could do to bring more balance, like, it's essentially you need to bring more balance into your life. And what's interesting is that we have a lot of like balancing energies, like the Lovers, but it's about weighing like what is actually valuable to you. Not everything has to be about productivity and like what is going to bring you the most money. I mean, obviously, like, you do want to be secure, you do want to be like taking care of yourself, like survival needs come first, obviously. But with the time you do have, how can you use it to do things that are going to be more in alignment with your soul? Because like maybe you only have 5-10 hours a week to yourself, like spread out in 7 days. Do you want to spend that time scrolling through TikTok, or do you want to spend that time doing something that's actually going to fulfill you? If scrolling through TikTok fulfills you, then by all means, my dude, continue. But a lot of our time, our free time, gets eaten up by these fucking apps that just rot our brains and make us feel like shit about ourselves. And I think Spirit is really saying, like, it is quite possible that part of your perspective is warped because of maybe being too enmeshed in certain communities like that. Take that how it resonates. But I really think what's happening here is you're needing to find more balance and make sure, like, be big enough to, not big enough, but almost be disciplined enough to give yourself room for genuine, authentic play. Instead of allowing yourself to run like the wind and just do whatever mindlessly, with the free time you do have, ask yourself, how can I have fun with my inner child? How can I appease my inner child? Like, can I play with Play-Doh? Maybe you freaking play with Play-Doh and then have internet shit going on in the background. Like, you can multitask. But this is really just about, you know, working with what your restrictions are in your life, but also recognizing how you can integrate more you time into it and give yourself the room and the freedom to do that. And also, there's something here about prioritizing. Like, if you can afford to do things that make your life a little bit easier, like, say, for example, like buying meal plans, or getting like a life coach, or getting a therapist, things like that, like, do that stuff. That is going to help you so much. You don't need to solely rely on yourself for this, to do everything. Like, if there's anything that you can do, like, if you can hire someone to, like, be your assistant, help you, do that. I mean, if you can't afford anything, like, even just asking, like, friends, family, people that care about you, like, hey, can you help me with XYZ? If you have a partner, hey, can you do XYZ this week so that I can take some time to myself? Like, just being honest about what you can handle and what you can't, and prioritizing things not based on what you think is the most valuable, but instead what is going to bring you the most joy. I mean, obviously in the real world, like, we do have bills to pay, we have mouths to feed, and like, those are inescapable qualities of life. But like, with the time that you do have, how can you sustain yourself and care for yourself? Because it is really easy to squander the time that we do have for ourselves with these super addicting apps that are designed to keep us addicted and designed to keep us sucked into shit. It's not, like, literally, like, no shame. I literally do the same thing, and I feel like shit afterwards when I do it. And it's hard. Like, you have to remember, like, the stuff that's eating up your time and energy, it's literally designed to do that. And it's not something you need to be ashamed of. It's just something you need to be aware of, so that when it's happening, you can get yourself out of it and say, okay, what is actually going to sustain me and fulfill me? And if it is being on the internet and doing those things, then do that. It's all about finding what works for you. And like I said, this is a general reading. This isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It's going to be different for all of you. Okay, so what external factors are outside of your control that you need to be aware of? Okay, the Fool. Okay, my God. Spirit is like... I need water. There's a lot of big energies in your life right now, and they're not what, Spirit? There's just a lot happening with you right now, and you may not be realizing it, but I'm about to come for some of the people in your life next, and I don't think that these are the people that you love. I think these are the people that either you tolerate, or the people that maybe you give their opinion a little too much weight. So with this Fool card, the external influences around you are people that may have your best interests at heart, may want the best for you, but they don't necessarily know what's best for you, and they don't realize that they don't know what's best for you because they're only looking at you through their lens and their perception of you and their experience. They're not really looking at you through an objective perspective, which is hard. You can only meet people with where they're at. And so Spirit is really saying that it's time to be more discerning about who you give your time and energy to, because there are certain people who just won't appreciate your time and energy and won't give you like positive or constructive advice, or won't tell you what is in alignment with your highest good, because one, that's something you need to know, and two, they can't know because they're living their life, not yours. And I think one of the most difficult things is as you go through this ascension process, it does get more and more isolating. You're gonna find that a lot of people in the regular world are just shallow, and that doesn't make them good or bad. It's just where they're at. And like, if they're happy, man, more power to them. But like, it might be harder for you to be around certain people or give certain people as much as of your time and energy, because you find that when you're with them, nothing is very constructive. It's just very draining. And so really what's happening here is Spirit is saying you're going to deal with people that say some ignorant shit, or that think that they're doing what's best for you, and they're not at all. With this Fool card, this is Spirit's way of saying that like, you have to be strong enough to know what is right and wrong for you, and not let the opinions of others dissuade you from your truth. Just because it's someone else's opinion doesn't make it more valuable or valid. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that you have much stronger insights than the people trying to give you advice or dictate what you should do in your life. Like, seriously, like, yeah, you need to... Essentially, Spirit's saying, like, you're dealing with people who think that they know everything, and they shouldn't hold any credence into what you actually do in your life. I feel like this is especially, like, friends, as well-meaning as they may be. Here's what I will say. If you wouldn't switch lives with them, don't take advice from them, point blank. But yeah, this Fool card is literally, like, learning to be a deeper, more sentimental soul and deal with shadow work and deal with a superficial world that just can't meet you on your level. It's very frustrating, but the best thing you can do is trust that the universe will bring you people more aligned to your experiences if you're not around those people already, but cherish the people in your life that you do have that can meet you at your level and that can give you that love and validation. But okay, so we're going to finish off by looking at what you should release. 8 of Swords. Yep, yeah. I'm going to say this again. Just because someone has an opinion other than you does not make it right. You need to trust what you are experiencing. Seriously, you will waste so much time trying to listen to the insight and opinion of other people. This is where valuing yourself is really important and comes in. Because if you view everyone's opinion above yours simply because they're not you, you are going to shoot yourself in the foot so many times, because your intuition knows so much better than these other people who think they do. Like, what's that phrase? Those who think they know don't, and those who don't know do. Like, it's like the more you know, the less you know. And so people that are very confident in what they know, do not trust them. Like, seriously, the more you go into this and the more uncertain you are, like, you don't have to look at life as like a divine experiment. And the people that are sure of how the experiment is going to turn out, they're going to have an interesting ride. But for you, look at life through hypotheses and following your intuition as like a hypothesis you're following. Your intuition is saying X, Y, Z. Other people are saying A, B, C. But you're going to follow X, Y, Z and see where that leads you. Because how many times do you ignore your intuition and then you realize later you should have followed it and you got yourself in a situation that you totally could have avoided by listening to your intuition? That's when you don't listen to your hypothesis and you follow ABC instead, because that's what was on your friend's paper, or you just totally ignored what your intuition was telling you, and then you're like, I was right this whole time. So sometimes it's like that trial and error, but like Spirit's really saying like the mental trap that you're stuck in, you can get out of. And a lot of it has to do with letting go of the opinions of others and letting go of not giving, which, I mean, it's hard. Like, obviously, like, we're social creatures. We care about what other people think of us. But Spirit is really saying, like, you're trapping yourself in your own mental prison by not giving yourself the room and the space to really explore yourself and what you want. And Spirit's saying you can get out of this. What you need to release is the mental chains of caring about what other people think and giving people too much weight in your life. This is your life. It's not their life. Like, if they care so much, they should apply those lessons in their life. Like I said, if you wouldn't trade lives with them, don't take advice from them. So, whew, wow, okay. Spirit really came through. So we're going to go ahead, and I hope that was accurate, because, like, I don't remember what I just said for the past 20 minutes. But we're going to go ahead and look at advice now. So to start, we have detachment. You're releasing old patterns and ideas that no longer serve your highest ideals of love. Yup. So Spirit is affirming that. We also have surrender to miracles. Be open to miracles occurring in your life. Feel and know that these events are real. Let go of any resistance and banish any doubt that miracles can happen. We also have exchanging gifts. I'm going to explain that in a second. And then we have trust. Yes, Spirit, yes. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. Yes, this is you, okay? Dolphins seem to be a significant animal as well. So take dolphins as a sign you're on the right path, or as a sign that you either need to lighten up a little bit or, like, listen to your emotions more. But with this exchanging gifts, this is all about you paying attention to how much you give and receive in your relationships. If you are not getting an equal give and take, and if you are finding that you are not receiving anything from other people, or the amount of energy you're putting in is not what you're getting out, I would assess how important those relationships truly are. Not only that, if you're uncomfortable with receiving from people, that is a shadow you need to work on, because you can't just be someone who perpetually gives, even though that's something that's more comfortable. In an authentic, loving relationship, you're gonna have to be able to receive too. And if you are in a partnership with someone, that may be something that you're working on, or that may be a good example of where giving and receiving needs to mirror in your outside life too. Like, if your partner shows you the way that you should be loved and the way that you should be treated, people that treat you poorly, people that treat you less than, maybe don't need to hold as much weight in your life, no matter how much history you have with them. But with this exchanging gifts, Spirit is saying, like, relationships should add to your life, not take away from your life. If they're taking away from your life, that's a sign that they're not in alignment. Pay attention to how you feel after you're around people. Do you feel supported and positive, or do you feel drained and negative? That is the biggest indicator of whether people are aligned with you. And we have this idea that, like, just because we have history with people, I'm grabbing the deck that you need to use, that I'm using for you. Just because we have history with people doesn't necessarily mean that they need to stick around. We have this, like, sentimental understanding, like, oh, because you've known someone for so long, you should spend more time with them, right? That's not necessarily fucking true, dude. Like, if you grow out of certain things, certain experiences, certain people, there's no reason to stay there. Like, history in the grand scheme of things means absolutely nothing. Some people are in your life for a reason, and some people are in your life for a season, and that's okay. Oh my God. Damn, Spirit has been speaking through me. So we're going to finish off this reading before we go into the extended. And which you're like, you've been talking for an hour. There's an extended? Yes. And we're going to be looking at who you're getting physical with next, and it's going to be interesting. But we're going to finish this off with a final piece of advice. I'm using the Divine Circus Oracle by Alana Fairchild. I'm just seeing what the universe wants to tell you. This could have nothing to do with your love life, if I'm being honest, but I just feel like Alana Fairchild is just the best, and she just has such great advice, so. And she says things more eloquently than I can channel. Divine Disguise. Okay, let's see what that has to say. Divine Disguise. Where is that? Some blessings are obvious. The door that opens, the person who says yes, and the instant success of an idea. But not all blessings are instantly recognizable. Some blessings are so veiled that at first you might consider them to be an unwanted development. A concealed blessing is either already at work in your life or on its way. Don't worry if you feel like things aren't working out as they should. Soon enough, the disguise will be dropped and the disguise will be dropped and the blessed unmasked in all its beauty. Like, literally, what was I saying? Blessings are the mysterious workings of the universe. They're to help us along our unique path to live our truths and fulfill our potential. The universe has the knack of knowing just what we need, even when sometimes we might think we need something altogether different. This is how it can be that something we resist and reject in our lives can become the very thing we are most grateful for later on. We realize it has been a blessing masked, something actually helping us, even though it might have come in the form of a challenge or struggle before we eventually gain benefit from it. The Oracle of Divine Disguise brings you a positive message and prediction for your future. It brings you the promise of peace of mind and a realization that the universe does really know what it's doing. Oh my God. I love when these cards confirm what I was talking about. It's in your corner, on your side, cheering you on and helping you avoid unnecessary pitfalls, even if you don't know they exist. Fucking preach. The Oracle indicates that the real beauty of a situation isn't obvious to you yet. It could be a delay or change in plans that turns out to be in your favor, even if at the time you aren't sure it signals failure. It could be the wrong person saying no to the right person. But it could be the wrong person saying no, so the right person can say yes. It could be being blocked from turning your back to the past, so you must continue forward into the magic of your future. Whatever is your hidden blessing, the Oracle of Divine Disguise tells you that you are soon going to realize just how loved and helped you are in all areas of your life. When this oracle appears, you are being told specifically that you don't need to worry. Even that which appears most troublesome is going to reveal itself to be working in your favor. So there is a healing trick and an affirmation that you can use. So I'm just going to hold this up and you can screenshot it if you want to use it later, or just in here. I'll hold this up too if you want to screenshot that. But that is where I'm going to leave your reading, pile 3. Oh my gosh. I always think like, man, when spirit gets a hold of me, it's like they have a vice grip on my soul until I say everything. And sometimes that's for an hour and 5 minutes, and that's okay. But we still have an extended to do. So if you want to meet me over there, that will be linked below. But otherwise, thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for letting me read your cards. And thank you so much for supporting me. If you would like to support me in ways, you can watch my ads. So thank you for those who do that, or just leave them playing in the background. That helps me so much. You can check out the extended, like I said. You can like this video. That's super helpful. You can comment down below. Let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already. And you can click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can also, what can you also do? You can check out my social media, though do be aware there are tons of scammers pretending to be me. They are not divine disguises. They are dumb poo-poo heads pretending to be me, which is unfortunate. So if anyone messages you pretending to be me, offering you a personal reading, they usually say some dumb shit like, do you want me to consider you for a personal reading? Say no, because it's not me. I don't offer personal readings. I don't offer personal readings so I can spend an hour doing this. You know what I mean? I gotta weigh my time, like that 2 of Pentacles said, even though she's buried. You know? I fucking love you guys. Okay. I think that's all I have. Oh, I have merch, but I think I'm gonna be making some that's new soon. So I don't know. Anyway, if you want to support me, those are all the ways you can. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for letting me channel for you. I really hope that this helped, and I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 4. Welcome to your reading. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this amethyst heart, this is going to be your reading on what is next in love. So we're going to start by looking at a few oracle cards to see who this person is. These piles have been really interesting so far. Not in like a good or bad way, just interesting. And there's been a lot of different interpretations. So you may find that some of them resonate, some of them don't. But essentially, if this part doesn't resonate at all, it may be because you haven't met this person yet, or because this just isn't your pile. But for some of you, you may find that the pile sounds like yourself, and if that's the case, that's absolutely okay too. So to start, we have the Warrior. We have Cancer with the Doula. Feeling sympathetic, comforting, nostalgic, protective, intuitive, so on and so forth. We have the Beaver, and we have Fear. Let me make sure I have all of these in the frame. Okay, so to start, this person has an interesting energy. fitting that I'm filming this pile right now because I do feel like this person is a little worn out. Not saying that I am, but they're just, there's a lot of uncertainty here, I guess, is the best way I can put it. Whoever this person is, I mean, I can start with signs. They could have Cancer placements, obviously. We have more water energy here, which would also be Scorpio and Pisces. With the Warrior, that kind of gives me Aries energy. But with the number 10, it also makes me think of Capricorn. So any of those could be placements, but they certainly don't have to be. The biggest vibe that I'm getting is that this person is somebody who doesn't feel free to be open with you. Maybe because they really care about what you think, or because they are really afraid of being rejected. With the Warrior card being here, I do feel like this is a person who looks at life with more of a survival mindset for some of you, and for others, just more of a, it's like a fighter energy, which is kind of obvious when we're talking about the Warrior, but I feel like this person doesn't let people in easily, but they do have an incredibly compassionate and caring side. If this person has children, that is like the thing that keeps them going. With the Beaver and the Cancer card being here, no matter what, this person is incredibly family oriented. Family is like of the utmost importance, and I think a lot of what this person strives to do is to bring harmony, I almost said harmonious, happiness and harmony to their family life. And I think that this person is willing to do anything to protect that. It does seem like this person has their eye on you and maybe are afraid to approach you, maybe because you and this person have had disagreements in the past. But if this is a newer person, this person may just be fearful of what their family might think, or may just be afraid to go outside of their comfort zone. I do feel like this person has a lot of sweetness to their energy, I think I already said, but they don't necessarily show that to everyone. And I don't think they necessarily want you to see their vulnerable side, because that's a little bit scary to them. With the Beaver card being here as well, this is somebody very loyal and very reliable, but they only reserve those energies for the people closest to them. They're not necessarily out here martyring themselves for other people. In fact, they may kind of appear kind of closed off and aloof towards most people. This person can, when they're not very tuned into themselves, they can be unnecessarily defensive, or maybe just combative. I don't think that this is somebody who is afraid to like confront something if it needs to be confronted. With the Fear card being here, I think they have much more fear letting their guard down than they do putting up a fight, if that makes sense. I'm hearing Battlefield by Jordan Sparks in my head, and I think that kind of makes sense. Like, this person kind of doesn't really perceive love in a way that is, well, you know the phrase, all's fair in love and war? That's kind of the vibe that I get with this person. They are very wary of love, it seems. And if this is your partner, I would say maybe there's been some difficulties between the two of you where maybe you've kind of been going head to head about certain things, or maybe you've just been a little bit sensitive about certain issues. I would imagine that if this is your partner, you've probably been with them for a little while and have gotten really comfortable with one another, and there may be issues that you both are working through. This person, I do get the vibe more so that this person isn't somebody that you're with, because I feel like for a lot of you, this person, you only see half of them. Like, that Fear card really kind of indicates to me that this person doesn't really show their full self. They show you what they want you to see, not necessarily what their true feelings are, because I do think this person has feelings for you, and if they haven't met you yet or haven't approached you, I do think feelings will be coming from their side first. I do think, though, that this person is a bit confusing, and they don't necessarily look at their emotions as something to embrace, but more so rather something to combat sometimes. And that could run into some difficulties for them. So because their energy is so interesting, I'm just going to go ahead and go into what is actually next by looking at these oracle cards and see what is actually next for you with this person. So to start, we have surrender. The energy of surrender supports us to let go of illusionary control and yield to the flow of love and life. We also have reciprocity. We have pleasure point. You'll like it up here. Abundance, sex, prosperity, and headspace. You are overflowing with creativity, creative energy, new ideas, productivity. We also have Pisces with I believe. We have forget-me-nots with eternal memories. The best things in life are the people you've loved, the places you've seen, and the memories you've made along the way. And finally, we have soul contracts have been fulfilled, lessons learned, a new beginning in love awaits. This is interesting energy. Give me a second. Because like there's definitely good things here. Part of me wonders if for some of you, this is someone you have yet to meet, or this is someone you're closing out a cycle with and maybe opening up to someone new. But I don't feel like Spirit would be talking about them unless they were coming up with this isn't what's leaving in love, this is what's next in love. So maybe this is someone that you're not in contact with, or someone that you're not currently communicating with. I feel like this person may hold a special place in your heart for some of you. And it may be that what's next in love is, I just heard like a minor reunification with this person, where maybe with their higher self or with their physical self, obviously, or now this is if you're not in a relationship with this person, you could be like kind of weighing your options, playing the field, having different experiences, focusing on what makes you happiest, focusing on people that are reciprocating the energy that you give out. But this person might be in the back of your mind. But that's only if like you're not involved in any serious connections. Like if you're just casually dating or things like that. But it could be a new beginning in love with this person, or closing out a cycle with someone else. Like maybe you have been single for a while and you're meeting this person, or this person's coming back into your life, or with you and this, if you're dating this person, I do think that there is some growing pains that you're finally overcoming. This person does feel like they want to fight for you, but they're afraid of that. And I feel like if you've had intuitive nudges about this person and their significance in your life, it does kind of seem like what you felt intuitively is going to be validated. It's taking me so long to channel in this pile. It's taking me so long to find the right words. And I think it's because you've definitely been in your head about this person for a long time, or been wondering when this energy was going to come into your life. If this is someone from your past, I definitely feel like on both ends, like you both have been tying up loose cycles with other people. But this is like somebody that you could never let go of. Because I feel like you feel this person deeply. And there's a lot of creative inspiration that has nothing to do with love coming your way, but also it seems like you could be getting physically intimate with this person. We'll definitely look at that in the extended. But you and this person could be coming together in a physical way, or just reuniting, reconciling. If you're in a relationship with this person, it does seem like things are improving in this situation, where you guys are kind of recognizing things that you need to let go of in terms of things that are not worth fighting over, or things that are not worth holding on to. I do feel like if you're in a relationship and you've been feeling like the relationship is coming to an end, you might find that's the case. And this is the case if you've been feeling incredibly drained, you've been feeling a lack of inspiration, a lack of passion for life. I think a new beginning in love is personal exploration and kind of going your own way and moving on in life, because the direction you're heading in love in general is positive. No matter what your situation is, the semantics of it, if you chose this pile, there is a new beginning in love of some kind, either with a new person, someone you already know that sounds like this, or this new beginning in love. If this description sounds like you, it sounds like this new beginning in love could just have to do with you and seeking out energies that are going to be reciprocal with you. But if you're not wanting to end your relationship, because I feel like if you are in a relationship and you pick this pile, you're kind of in two camps. One, you may be going through a rough spot with your partner, but you want to work through it. You want to go beyond it. I see that happening where it's like surrendering to the lessons that you've learned and making space for new energy to come into. But if you've been recognizing that this relationship isn't necessarily working out and you don't feel like there's any more growth to be had, you could be surrendering the relationship, cherishing and honoring what you had with that person, and going your own way, and maybe exploring what's out there, seeing what there is to be discovered, and focusing on your own abundance and your own happiness. I think that's why this is so confusing, because this there could be a larger collective picking this pile, or a lot of different energies. But no matter what's next in love for you is a feeling like you're in alignment with your love life and being excited for what's to come. You'll be recognizing that you can trust the shifts that the universe has been pushing you towards, and you're going to be really happy that you trusted yourself. I think that you're going to be feeling a lot more rejuvenated, and any hopelessness you had around your love life is dissipating. And I think that there are surprises coming your way. This is one of those frustrating things when you're trying to look at like future energies, where Spirit's like being super cheeky and not really wanting to give you the full tea, because you're not meant to know. Spirit's not gonna tell you or give you anything if you're not meant to hear it. And I hope I'm conveying that this is like a positive shift in your life, no matter how you perceive it. But I feel like there are just things that you can't anticipate happening that are going to happen. And it's almost like you just kind of need to trust what the universe is guiding you towards and be receptive to whatever may be coming. If you're not interested in being in a commitment of any kind, I do feel like you could just be having interesting memories and experiences with certain people. But I do feel like for a lot of you, there's a significant person here that you may have a soul connection to, where even if you're not interacting with them, you're feeling their energy in any romantic interactions that you have. But I do also see a reunification with them, where you may be making memories with them and surrendering to the flow of this connection and surrendering to what it is. I also think that this energy is going to provide you with a lot more faith in the universe, and it's going to be a very healing energy where it's like, I literally see like a dead plant coming back to life almost. And I almost feel like the more the more energy I put into this situation, the easier it feels to channel your messages. Not that I wasn't putting in energy before, but it's like the more that I focus on it, the more I just kind of center myself and like bring it to center, the more powerful the messages feel. So the best way I can like describe to you what this means for you is that what's next in love for you in terms of action is you finding a fine balance of centering your own energy and focusing on what you can control in terms of bringing love into your own life. And this doesn't necessarily just mean romantic love. This is a lot about like self-love and things like that, but also allowing the universe to guide you on the next steps forward, or just be receptive to what the universe is trying to bring you. There are definitely interesting experiences that you're not anticipating that are going to bring you, like if you're creative of any kind, these experiences are going to bring you a lot of inspiration. I also think that you're going to be surrendering a lot of the stress around your love life, where you may be worried that things have to be a certain way or things have to look a certain way. And you may just be recognizing that like you deserve to do what is going to make you happy. And you shouldn't have to adhere to someone's expectations or follow a specific path to find your happiness. You're kind of just learning to go with the flow instead of fighting it. And so if you kind of resonate with this warrior energy being you, I think you're going to kind of give up the fight of trying to control what happens in your love life and trusting spirit more. This is actually a really exciting new beginning, but the frustrating thing is that I can't necessarily tell you what this is going to be because, first of all, like there's so many different avenues of what that could be, especially in a collective reading, but also you're not meant to know right now. It's like the universe is like, we just want you to trust that there's good things coming. And like these two cards, like you're the only pile that got two cards here. Like we have You'll Like It up here, and you are overflowing with creativity. I think that you are coming into yourself in a much more freeing way. And the lover or lovers that you have in the near future are going to be ones that fulfill you and maybe in some ways challenge you, but they bring you closer to yourself and they give you memories that you'll be so grateful for. And if you're closing out cycles with people currently, I think you're gonna recognize, you're gonna be really happy that you closed out those chapters, because you're going to be opening yourself up to really new and exciting experiences that you wouldn't have had if you stayed in these cycles that were no longer serving you. I really like this energy. The crappy thing is that like, I wish I had more to tell you in terms of like what the specifics of these experiences are, but like it's not my place to speak on Spirit's behalf, and I'm not gonna like make up things just to appease you, because that wouldn't be honest. So like honestly, like what I'm getting here is a new beginning in love, either with a specific person or with yourself in terms of experiencing things with different people, doing what makes you happy and kind of surrendering to the flow of what feels right. If you're in a loving, committed relationship that you don't see leaving, I think a new beginning there is happening. You might find that if you are in a relationship, friends in your life and their life may be falling away, and that may actually make your relationship more harmonious. But if you have been in a relationship with someone where you're just recognizing that things aren't working and there's no more growth to be had here, I do feel like you're going to be making the decision to follow your bliss. And I think that this is going to be something that is amicably agreed upon. So like I said, take whatever I'm channeling as it resonates. But no matter what, you're going to be really happy with this, and it's what's meant to happen next. I see a lot in terms of you getting closer to yourself, getting closer to your psychic abilities, and also like a lot of heart awakenings happening here where you may be awakening other people's hearts, whether intentionally or not. But there's this shift of moving from a perspective of fear to a perspective of love, where you're recognizing that you don't have to know what the next step necessarily is, but enjoying the present moment and feeling love in the present moment and cherishing every moment you have to bring more love into your present moment. I do feel like you're bringing in a partner or partners or a person that is going to, you know, light your fire, so to speak, and you're going to feel really, really connected to them. And I think that one thing that Spirit may want to caution you about is that there may be like, especially if this is someone you already know that's like an intense connection, or if you meet someone that you have an intense connection with, be sure to set boundaries and make sure that you're not losing yourself in this other person, because that may create an energy of wanting to control the outcome, control the situation. And Spirit's really saying this next leg in your love life, no matter what it is for you, is meant to be one where you're experiencing the ride, you're not the one controlling the ride. Like, I'm thinking of like the It's a Small World ride at like Disney World and Disneyland, you know? You're meant to be in the little boat thingy, enjoying the ride. You're not meant to be the one controlling the ride. And so you're just meant to experience it and see what experiences come from it. For some of you, I do get the vibe like there may be people kind of coming in and out. And this one that matches the description of either somebody you know or don't know could be the most significant person that you interact with in this time. Because I do feel like for some of you, you're not really going to be committing to anyone, just sussing out vibes, seeing different, having different experiences with people. But for others, I do feel like there is a significant person here where you may be interacting with them on and off, or getting closer to them in some way. I'm digging so hard. I swear, I'm digging so hard right now. I'm like trying to get as much information from Spirit as possible, but they're so freaking tight-lipped. It is annoying. But Spirit is assuring me you're gonna like where you're headed. And I'm thinking of the Chronicles of Narnia. The movie, not the book, because like I was never patient enough to read those books. Don't cancel me, okay? Like last time I tried to read them, I was like 12. Maybe I would enjoy them now, but I don't have them anymore. But the Beaver family, you know how like they're just the best, like they're so supportive and kind and loyal. I feel like you're almost being guided by like a beaver energy, and maybe your guides may show up in the form of a beaver. Like that might be a sign that you're on the right path, but it's like oh, Spirit, here come the puns. Your guys are like, we don't give a damn about what you want. Like, we're going to give you what you need and what you deserve. And what you want may not necessarily be what you deserve and what you need. So it's almost like you can trust Spirit to guide you through this journey, because you're going to be headed to a place where you're really happy with what comes next. And I think you're going to really develop a deeper connection to yourself. And not only that, like, it's all gonna make sense when you get there. Most irritating thing I could ever say, I'm so sorry. But like, I've even just noticed as I've been channeling, the shift in my energy as I've channeled this, it started out really slow. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck am I doing? Like internally while I'm channeling, and then getting closer and closer and closer, and then being like, oh, okay, like this is good. This is nice energy. I feel nice right now. Like I want to sit in this energy. I'm not pulling your tarot cards yet because I just want to sit in this energy. It feels really nice. It's an energy of just like, I don't necessarily know what's around the corner, but I know I am being prepared on my journey to face it. I know whatever it is, I can handle it. And I trust that the universe is bringing me what I need and what I deserve. Like you've got some loyal guides that are here helping you and protecting you through this. And I feel like Spirit, if you kind of resonate with the warrior energy, Spirit's asking you not to fight this. This is something that you're meant to surrender to. And Pisces is also an energy of surrender. And it's more so just like kind of throwing your hands up in the air and saying, okay, Spirit, take me on this journey, because like I don't know. Because listen, the universe knows what's best for you better than you know yourself. And I think Spirit is asking you not to be afraid of the new things ahead, because you're going to find that you're a lot happier than you thought. And even if you start out confused, and even if you start out, you know, not understanding what's going on, when you look back, you're going to like look at this time period in your life and be like, oh wow, like this was a really special time in my life. It's so beautiful. I wish I knew what it was. Like, that's the frustrating thing, is like Spirit's not going to tell me, because they know I would spill the beans, and I'm not meant to spill the beans. But this is a really beautiful energy. And what I will say, just to kind of summarize this mishmash of words that I've just been channeling, is what is next in love for you, pile 4, is a new beginning of some kind, whether in an existing relationship or in a new relationship. And it may not necessarily be commitment, but you will be interacting with someone or multiple people that you connect with on a deep level. I do think that there is one person that you are going to be connecting with on an incredibly deep level that will be really shaking up the way you perceive the world, in terms of having a lack of faith and feeling like the universe doesn't have your back. For some of you, I definitely feel like this is somebody that you have a soul connection to, that they may be coming in for some more growth, or to reconcile in some way, to create memories with them. This isn't a very long-term what's next in love. So what happens after, I think, is very dependent on your own individual journeys. But I do think, you know, it's very much based on what you are feeling like you need, and what the universe acknowledges that you need as well. So like if you're kind of in this energy where you're like not necessarily looking for a relationship, but I want to get out there, I want to meet people, I definitely seeing like there's a group of you that are having multiple different experiences with different people, and just kind of allowing life to take you where it will. For others, I see, you know, one very specific, even if you are seeing multiple people, interacting with other people, one very significant person coming back in, or providing an energy for you to learn a lot during this time, even if they're not in your physical presence. And then if you're in a relationship and you're not feeling like the relationship is fulfilling you anymore, then I see that there is kind of an ending happening that I think that you will likely facilitate, that brings you to a place of just seeing what the universe has for you next. And I think that you're going to be feeling really rejuvenated, really refreshed. And if you are in a relationship where you've been maybe arguing, having some rough patches, but this is something that you want to work through, I do see a new beautiful beginning with this person, so long as they are reciprocating, which it does look like they are. I do see a lot of mirroring, in the sense that like what you are emanating and what you are experiencing, the universe is going to be mirroring back to you. There's a lot of external and internal shifts. This is going to be a very transformative time, and it's like I can't do it justice, but that's essentially the vibe that I'm getting. So we're going to go ahead and get into the tarot portion of this reading now, because this will be a lot more about you and what you need to know. And I've used a different tarot deck for each pile. So for you guys, I'm using the Xoxo Vito tarot. Got it for Christmas, and I haven't used it in a reading yet, because I haven't found a stone that I really like, or I don't know, she's almost come out a few times, but then I just didn't like the energy was with when it paired with stones. And so I don't know, this is her debut. So Spirit, let's just go ahead and start by seeing what you're already doing to help bring more love into your life. So what is pile 4 already doing to help bring more love into their life, please, Spirit? Okay, 8 of Swords. So this is Spirit kind of saying, you have access to so much more love than you realize, and what's blocking you from being aware of it is your own mental prison. It's kind of interesting. The Eight of Swords has been a theme in a few of these readings, and I think that if you have been taking attempts to let go of, not let go of, but at the very least, like, combat, fight against like these negative thoughts that are keeping you feeling suppressed, keeping you from feeling like you're in alignment, or keeping you from feeling the energy of love. Like, I feel like you may be taking steps to kind of fight against like the darkness, the negativity, the negative thoughts, negative feelings, the mental prison that maybe you've been stuck in. And I feel like this mental prison has been what's been holding you back from creativity, from feeling pleasure, from surrendering to certain energies. And I think the attempts that you're already making to combat this are what's helping you bring more love in. But Spirit is saying, by all means, please continue to work on your mindset, to work on your perspective, and remind yourself that just because you see things a certain way doesn't necessarily make it the truth. But the biggest thing about the Eight of Swords is it's always a mental prison that you can free yourself from. You're not trapped in it entirely. So Spirit is saying, continue working on your mindset. I'm actually going to grab an ego card and see if there's anything that you can forgive yourself for or recognize about your ego that may be stopping you from feeling more into love. So Spirit, is there anything pile 4 needs to forgive themselves for when it comes to love? I forgive myself for distrusting others to be able to take care of themselves. I choose to believe that when I delegate tasks and make space for growth, I empower others to experience parts of themselves not previously known to them. And on the back of the deck, we have, I forgive myself for shaming myself for the intensity with which I experience my life. I choose to believe that when I open myself up to the spectrum of experience, I give myself full permission to explore the depths of my being so that I gain a clearer understanding of who I am to be in the world. Yeah, this is like literally what you're shifting into, like exactly this. So yeah, if one of the things holding you back is guilt and feeling like you owe things to people, or that you have to do things a certain way, or that you need to be there for certain people, that's not true. That's an ego distortion. But what's blocking it is the King of... Actually, I'm going to put this back because this doesn't feel right. If it's meant to come out, it will. Because I didn't even get the question out, and I'm like, I need to make sure that that's actually... So the next thing that we're going to ask about is what's blocking you from bringing more love in. And the Magician. Okay. This is interesting. Okay. I see why the King of Wands wanted to come out. So the thing that's blocking you from being more in alignment with love is the belief that you need to seek it, or the belief that you need to find it or manifest it, when in fact you already have it. It's within you. You are love. You came from love. You'll return to love. Like, the universe in its purest form, energy in its purest form, is love. And the Magician card also talks about the phrase, as above, so below. So you can look at this in a micro way and think, okay, my head's not doing too great, so below my head, my external circumstances may not be too great either. Like, look at your outer, like, look at your surroundings. How organized are they? How clean are they? How put together are they? Because oftentimes our outer, our environment can reflect what's going on internally. And I think Spirit is saying that maybe you are looking too much at what you don't have or what's outside of you, and not recognizing that the things that you're seeking you already have internally. And connecting to those things will allow you to bring about loving experiences in your external realm by tuning in and connecting to them in your inner realm first. It's almost like, okay, Pile 4, you're being way too hard on yourself. Like way, way, way too hard on yourself. And I feel like you may be under this impression that you need to jump through hoops or do a ton of spells or do a ton of things to just prove to the universe that you're worthy of love. And that's completely a distortion. You are worthy of love. You are love. You always have access to love. It's just that you may find that what you are seeing as love or what your ego is perceiving as love may not necessarily be the truth. And one of the biggest things that will hold you back from feeling into your heart, feeling into your truth, is your mental body. So when you are stuck in these mental distortions that are not necessarily your truth but are impacting how you act and see the world, take a moment. Take some time to breathe, put away distractions, and create space for your heart to speak. And just ask your heart, what do I need to do to support you? What do you want me to know? Because your heart is an extension of your soul. And when you feel like you're not in touch with your soul, your heart is like the representative. It will let you know. And the heart will always give very simple, clear messages. And you can not trust your heart, like in the sense that like it may not make any sense to your brain. And that's the scary thing about spirit, is that a lot of times like spirit will guide us in ways that don't make sense to our logical brain, but our heart trusts them, and we may not realize it, but our soul is like leaping for joy. A lot of times when spirit is guiding us, it doesn't make sense until we get to the end of the ride, the end of the cycle, and we're like, oh wow, I understand why I had to go through all of this. And I feel like you may be feeling like you need to cultivate all of this for yourself. You need to cultivate love. You need to seek out love and things like that, when you're forgetting that you are love and you always have it. And this isn't just romantic love. This is just love in general. The biggest thing blocking you from it is feeling like you need to create all these things, create all these circumstances, create these experiences, when life can effortlessly bring them to you if you're just willing to be receptive and follow the guidance that it's trying to give you. I just heard in my head, insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And so this magician card is interesting because like he just looks really worn out and exhausted. And I feel like you may be feeling that way. And really what Spirit's been doing in this cycle that you're closing out is getting you to the point of exhaustion so that you finally surrender your mental body in a way where you can actually be receptive to your higher and your inner guidance. The biggest problem has been that you haven't been allowing yourself to be open to forms of guidance outside of what your logical brain may say, or external sources that, while may be helpful, can't entirely give you the answers that you need. So the biggest thing that is blocking you right now is the recognition that you're not separate from Spirit. You're not separate from the world. Spirit knows what you want, and Spirit wants to give it to you. The universe loves you literally so much, and not just in a detached way where they only see a little bit of you. The universe knows you better than you know yourself, and the universe wants to give you the most beautiful experiences that you could ever imagine, but they can't force anything upon you. It is your own free will that you always are entitled to, that will always trump anything the universe is trying to do. So that is why it is so important to be surrendered to what the divine will is and what the divine wants for you, and be receptive to what that guidance might look like, even if it doesn't make sense in the moment, because it will bring you closer to yourself than you could ever imagine. And you'll realize you never had to be in the driver's seat in the first place. You never had to control the ride. Like, you were just meant to sit there and have some fun. Like, everything will come full circle, and you'll recognize that you never had to be so proactive. Like, you really could just be in the moment. And I think this is what your next step in love is learning how to embrace love in the moment and not have this picture of what love is supposed to look like, but instead be open to all forms of love and how you already have love within you, because you have love within you. And whenever you are feeling unloved, feeling like the universe doesn't love you, that is a distortion, and that's not the truth. The truth of the matter is, it's not that the universe takes love away. It's about how receptive we are to love and what we do to be open to that energy. And if we're not used to that, it takes practice, it takes work. So the best things that you can do are like, you know, like guided meditations, like guided especially, because if you have a hard time getting out of your head, it's like you really need to be open and receptive to what the universe is trying to give you. The universe works in subtle ways. Like, the idea of what you want is not going to come out and smack you in the face. Like, the universe works in mysterious ways, and what they're trying to tell you is not always going to be super obvious. You need to make room and make space for it to come through so that you can take guidance on what's next. But let's go ahead and see what action you can take to be in alignment with love, because that's the next step, and Spirit's telling me to keep it moving. Aha, we have the Hierophant, that's the only one I'm going to take. Oh, okay. There is an extra message, though. We do have the King and Queen of Pentacles here. This is a specific message. If you have parents or have connections to people that have a very healthy, loving relationship, asking them for advice could be helpful, or being around people that just have a grounded perspective of love, a grounded and loving presence that's safe and nurturing. Seeking out the advice of those people or spending time with them could be very helpful. But this could also be about balancing your feminine and masculine energy in the physical realm. The Hierophant. The Hierophant also signifies Taurus energy. We have a lot of earth energy coming down here. And I think Spirit is saying the best way to ground love into your physical realm is to go take action in the physical to bring love into you, or to reopen yourself to the energy of love. But essentially, the energy of the Hierophant, one action you can take is to seek out mentorship or guidance in a spiritual practice or a spiritual person that you trust. But this is also about having a more regimented practice that gets you in touch with your spiritual self, that gets you in touch with your truth, and having more of a willingness to trust parts of yourself that you don't typically rely on. And the biggest one is not listening to solely your mental body. Like, what's the best way to say this? The biggest thing that you need to change is where you're seeking out your information, in terms of, is it actually resonating with you at a truth level? Kind of separating yourself from mass consciousness a little bit and taking a deep dive and exploring occult, metaphysical, spiritual texts that are going to bring you closer to your higher self and bring you closer to your truth. Spirit kind of wants you to explore, and if you don't want to do it yourself, to seek out mentors, or seek out, like, for example, maybe listening to talks from the Dalai Lama, or like spiritual figures that promote compassion and love and kindness. Things like that will really help you realign with that energy yourself, because you, in order to like kind of surrender to the universe, sometimes we have to be compassionate towards ourselves, and that can be like one of the hardest things ever. And I think this compassion for yourself will help you recognize where maybe you are being way too hard on yourself in general. And I'm just realizing now that I totally didn't have my light on, and it's getting really dark and raining, so I'm gonna like turn that on really quick, but I'm gonna continue talking. With the Hierophant here, I mean, it can mean a lot of different things, but I think that you need to have a more traditional and more grounded approach in terms of how you allow guidance to come through, how you open yourself up to love, and to seek out mentorship or help if you need it. You know, you may need someone to help you with techniques in meditation, or in self-love, or in self-care, or just in learning. Like, with the Hierophant, I would literally Google the Hierophant card and like go take a deep dive into it and learn a lot about it, and learn about what that energy is, and taking the action in terms of that card that aligns most with you. There's so many different energies in this pile that like we would be here all day if I sat and listed off all the ways that you could enact the Hierophant. But I think the biggest one is spiritual guidance that aligns with your soul and not with your ego. And recognizing where maybe your ego has taken over and made you feel like you need to control a situation rather than trust that you're exactly where you need to be and be alignment with what your soul is trying to tell you. There's a lot about surrender here, and I really feel like the Hierophant card is just talking a lot about finding a routine that works for you, where you can remind yourself and ground the energy of love into your life without seeking it, but just remembering that it's within you and tapping into that energy. So let's see what external factors outside of your control you need to be aware of. The Three of Cups. Okay. That's interesting. So the external factors outside of your control that you need to be aware of are that, like, there's a lot of joy available to you if you're willing to be open and receptive to it. The Three of Cups is a beautiful card. And I think that you're being reminded that love comes in many different forms, and that there are people who love you very much that can help you be in that energy of joy. And don't separate yourself from the people that love and care about you because you feel like you're a burden or your presence doesn't matter. You're worthy of joy. And with the Three of Cups here, one thing that you may find is that there could be a lot of people around you, partaking in activities that maybe you're not feeling in alignment with. Because I'm kind of getting this almost FOMO energy as well. And I feel like Spirit is saying, you don't have to pressure yourself to be like the crowd. You don't have to pressure yourself to be anything other than you are. And recognize that, like, true joy can come from sources that you never even thought possible. I do think that there are reunions that are outside of your control that you're going to be surrendered into, that are going to be really wonderful. I also think that Spirit is asking you not to, like, if you want to go and have fun, like, if you get invitations to do things, have fun, celebrate yourself. I think a lot of what you've been dealing with is just mental anguish that you're not really conveying to a lot of people, or you're not really sharing with a lot of people. And I think that if you were more open about what you're going through, either with trusted friends or a trusted mentor or a trusted resource, you would realize that there's a lot more love available to you than you realize. Usually I interpret external factors outside of your control being things that are frustrating, but I think Spirit's really saying in this case, like, what actually was so interesting is, like, this rainbow is really similar to the one in the Warrior, and it's like, stop fighting the happiness and love that wants to come into your life just because it's not how you pictured it or not how you necessarily thought it would come. The universe wants to bring you surprises. The universe is bringing you blessings and joy and beautiful memories. So what's outside of your control is having a good time. So sorry, not sorry, but the universe is going to bring you some beautiful things, and the only way that you won't get them is if you refuse to receive them and stay closed off. Like, sorry buddy, but it's time to have fun and time to recognize how loved you are. So finally, I'm going to look at what you should release. The Nine of Cups. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. The thing that you need to release is the expectation of how love or how joy or how beautiful things should show up. Release the idea of what you think you want and what you think will complete you, because more often than not, the things we think we want oftentimes don't end up satisfying us the way that we think it will, and then the universe brings us something that's better than we could ever imagine. The thing you need to release is what your true wishes look like and what your true happiness looks like, and trust that the universe will naturally guide you there, because that is your divine birthright and you deserve joy, you deserve love, you deserve happiness. So just recognizing that, like, although something may not look how you're expecting it to or how you're picturing it. It may turn out better than you ever imagined. And releasing the idea that you need to control outcomes or control how things happen or not be open to different opportunities or experiences just because they're not what you anticipated or not what you thought that they would look like. That's holding you back. This 9 of Cups here is like this girl knows how to listen to her heart and her titties, but she's really like, what you need to release is the feeling like you can't trust your heart or what your heart is telling you, because your heart will lead you to exactly what you've always wanted all along, whether you were presently aware of it or not. So we're going to move on into advice now before we get into the extended. I don't know if I mentioned it, but in the extended, we're going to look at what your next physical encounter is going to be like. Those have been very juicy and very interesting as well. This What's Next in Love has been like just incredibly interesting in general. Like the energies and the messages that I've channeled have just been really fascinating. But we're going to look at these cards first, and then I'm going to finish off with a final guidance card. So first we have Surrender to Wonder and Awe. Open to the magic of every moment and sense the awe and wonder in all of life. This attitude will keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. Yup. We also have Not For You. And I am definitely getting this. So I think the interesting thing with this coming through is that, one, remember that rejection is divine protection. If something happens the way you didn't want it to or didn't anticipate it to, trust that there's a higher reason for it, even if you can't see it now. But the biggest thing that I think that this is about is recognizing that you're not meant to control where your life is headed. Playing games is not for you. Like, this is the biggest thing that I get with this chessboard, is like playing games and being around people that are not going to fulfill you or that confuse you and just play games with you, play ego games. Like, the universe is not going to give you anything that your ego is trying to manifest. I mean, it might to show you that it's not actually that satisfying, but what you'll realize is the only thing the universe holds back from you are things that were not meant for you in the first place, because they're trying to bring things that are far better than you could ever imagine. And I think Spirit is saying, you know, it's okay to let go of the idea of what you thought you wanted and be open to just what may come through. I think that there's a lot of beautiful blessings for you, and the universe is going to hold back what you thought you wanted or hold back manifestations because they've got something way bigger, way better for you, that far better than you could ever imagine. And so they just don't want you, they're not going to let what's meant for you miss you. So they're not going to let something that could block what's meant for you come in. We also have guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist my soul's growth. I believe that as well. One thing that's not for you is guilt. And so I think that if you feel guilty about changing up how you're doing things, or guilty about feeling pleasure, or guilty about doing what makes you happiest, the universe is getting you out of that energy, and you're surrendering to the belief that you're worthy of love and worthy of happiness in whatever form that comes to you. And we also have compassion. You demonstrate the language of the heart by actively sharing and living love. This is where you're headed. It's a path of compassion, and it's a very beautiful one. The universe has compassion for you. Actually, it's interesting. I was literally reading about like compassion last night and how the universe has compassion for us. And compassion works in a lot of ways, but one of the biggest is that compassionate guidance from the universe is going to come in a form that is most needed for you in your growth in your journey. So, you know, for example, if you look at it from a parenting perspective, like the universe is your parent and you're the child. If you could be guided by a simple look saying, no, don't do that, that's what the universe is going to do. But if you're somebody who wouldn't pick up on that, wouldn't pay attention to that, you're not open and receptive, the universe might have to give you more guidance or be more forceful and say, hey, snap out of it. Listen, this is what we need you to do. But if you would be open and receptive to just a look of like, oh, that's not meant for you, or yes, that is, it would be cruel to give you more forceful guidance or give you a more forceful wake-up call when a simple look would do. So if you're fearing the guidance that the universe is going to give you, don't, because the universe is always going to give you exactly what you need in divine timing. You really don't need to worry about how this happens. The biggest lesson right now that you are learning is how to surrender and trust to what the universe is trying to flow to you, because they will bring you things far better than you ever thought possible. And once you understand what the universe was trying to bring to you, you'll realize why things didn't go a certain way or why things had to happen in a certain way. You are so deserving of beautiful things, and the universe is not going to settle for anything less unless you force the universe's hand and are not receptive to what the universe wants for you. So we're going to finish this reading off with one final message of advice from Spirit. So Spirit, what final advice do you want to give pile 4? We have Ishtar's Lion Gate, 888. So I'm going to read that in the book. 888 could be a significant number. And we have 44, which reduces to 8, but also I always see 44 as angelic protection. But 888 is also a number of abundance. So lions could be significant as well. But we're going to see what this says in the book and see what the universe wants to say to you. What number is this? 44. I literally forgot that already. Okay. Your heart has a heightened connection with the higher realms of consciousness and light. A blessing, empowerment, or positive omen shall enter your world. Doors will open for you. Abundance and prosperity is headed your way. Take care of your heart. Ask for spiritual assistance and it shall be granted. Something negative is going to transform into something very positive. Ishtar is the queen of the night, a dark goddess of loss and letting go, but also a priestess of light who holds the keys to renewal from suffering. She is relentless in her pursuit of the path to true inner freedom. She willingly surrenders her attachments and her identities, even separating herself temporarily from her loved ones with such boldness and confidence that she crosses into realms where others dare not go. She experiences vulnerability and in that state discovers deep truth. Ishtar is the capacity of the soul to integrate our experiences after reaching the greatest depths of suffering. She emerges and is reinstated upon her rightful throne, with even greater wisdom, spiritual power, and compassion. In a reading, she is a guardian and symbol of resurrection. You shall rise again. Those who have felt as though their identity or any other marker of security has been torn away from them are her children. They will find their way back to peace and prosperity under her auspices. I might be saying that wrong. If you've been suffering, this oracle indicates an end of the struggle is imminent. You shall be restored with so much more than what you have lost. Ishtar is depicted in the Queen of the Night, relief that dates back over 4,000 years from ancient Babylon, which was located in the lands of present-day southern Iraq. She is a bird woman priestess with talons and wings, flanked by owls and lions. She holds sacred tools, a rod and ring in her hands, is bejeweled and naked, symbolizing her power and freedom. Her symbols are the gate, the 8-pointed star, and the lion. She is considered the goddess of the planet Venus, but the star Sirius is also sacred to her. Its rise each year marks the ascent from the dark realms, which ensures prosperity and good fortune for the year ahead. Her jewels and tools, that rhymes, represent her great power and effectiveness. The stars represent her higher consciousness and loving wisdom, and are a sign of a great blessing in your life, indicating prosperity, peace, healing, and love. Yup. The lion's gate falls when the sun is in Leo. Leo is the sign of the lion, the astrological ruler of the heart, and the animal totem sacred to Ishtar. The rising of Sirius took place on the 26th of July in ancient Egypt, which marked the beginning of the Egyptian New Year. In modern times and different latitudes, the date for the rising of Sirius varies considerably. Nonetheless, the 8th day of the 8th month is considered especially potent, and when combined with the 8-pointed star of Ishtar, the numerical frequency of the spiritual portal or doorway that opens on 8th of August becomes 888. The 888 frequency will stimulate your soul in its unique way. It facilitates a deepening intimacy between the spiritual world and the earth plane, an amplification of light, and an outpouring of positive blessing for humanity. It is believed many, if not all, cosmic avatars who come to earth as advanced spiritual guides hail from Sirius and make their blessings increasingly available to humanity during this opening between the worlds. This oracle brings a message of a breakthrough and healing, of a significant lightening up of your life, and the end of a deeply challenging cycle in your life. There is a special divine dispensation argued by the oracle of Ishtar's Lion Gate 888, where hope has been difficult to find or all seems lost. The light shall return and beautiful blessings are destined to unfold in your life. So there is a healing process here, and I'm going to kind of just show it to you so you can hold on to it and screenshot it if you want to do this healing process. But wow, this has, time flies really fast. But yeah, this literally said everything that I needed to say. Like, there are beautiful blessings coming to you, and the end of a struggle is over. And yeah, good shit's coming to you, my dude, so you better be ready. But that is all I have for you, pile 4. If you want to head over to the extended, feel free to check that out, which will be linked below. But if you're leaving me here, which is absolutely okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for watching my ads. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, you can subscribe if you haven't already, and become a part of my notification squad. I always forget my outro. You can also check out my social media, though do be aware there are tons of scammers pretending to be me. And yeah, if you get any DMs from people that pretend to be me offering you a personal reading, that's not me. I do not offer personal readings. If it's not linked from my YouTube channel, it's not mine. And I have merch, but that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for letting me read your cards. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye.